Hello, welcome to honest-wargamer. I'm your host, Rob, and today I am joined by my good friend, my erstwhile companion, and the only other man that snores as much as I do, Mr. Jonathan Etland. Hi, John.
Hello, good sir.
Hello, good sir. How are you?
I'm very good, and I have to add, I mean, you don't snore because I've never heard you snore, man. Have you heard me snore?
So closely to my face that it's unbelievable. Let me just let me just go on Discord and tell everyone that we're live, and then we'll kick the show off. You're so loud as a snorer; it's incredible.
It's my USP.
Yeah, it is your USP. So, how have you been?
I'm good, man. Been busy building shooty dwarves and planning tournaments. I'm working.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that in a minute, aren't we? Well, those are some of the subjects that we're going to cover. Oh, there we go. Nailed it. Smashed it. Hi, Jonathan. And hi, Arkian. Hope you're well. So, yes. Good. So, you're good. So, first off, you're building shooty dwarves. So, Age of Sigmar-wise, because that's what we're going to jump off with. We're just going to get straight into the subjects. What have you been building and painting and playing, and why?
Okay. Kharadron Overlords, man. I've been building them fanatically, and playing them just as fanatically. I mean, I'm basically like trying to rebuild the army, like coming in from like a new point of view. I mean, I obviously can't play clown car anymore, which I wouldn't want to anyway, which is good, because I think it's bullshit. It was bullshit. So I've been all about like seeing the armies from all the different angles and trying to answer like the questions that the game is asking at the moment, which is quite a lot, actually, quite a lot. I mean, if you ignore the more Sargard threat, you also have the realms, and you have the endless spells, and you have all that jizz, and you have the Sylvanet Wildwoods, and so it's great fun. I think I'm doing well. I'm doing better than I should be doing. I think mainly one big up that I have is people never learned what Kharadron Overlord did because they didn't have to bother because they got shot off turn one and then wasn't interested, wasn't fun to play against.
I couldn't agree with you more. I just want to say hello to everyone who's joined us on Twitch. Obviously, this is an unscheduled show, and thank you to everyone on Patreon and on Twitch who helps us do the show. Sorry, John. Yeah, I forgot to do that at the start. Also, everyone's joined us. Me and John are just talking some Warhammer. I've still got to paint 70. That's if you're live. If you're watching on Facebook, I'm taking questions on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube or you're watching back on YouTube, thanks very much for watching. Hugely appreciate it. We're on Twitch right now, live. If you listen to the podcast, we're on Twitch live. And I'm painting Chaos Dwarves. That's what I'm doing while I'm waiting for, while I'm talking to John, basically.
So, like, how many Chaos Dwarves?
No, please carry on. So, like, and I think it's a really good point. So, no, when Kharadron Overlords, so in AOS 1, if people are listening and aren't aware, in my opinion, Kharadron Overlords, and I'm sure maybe John will mirror this thought, but I don't want to speak for you. Kharadron Overlords was such a polarizing army, specifically the way that they were built competitively. Although there were some people who did build them a little bit different, but effectively the army list, the one-trick pony army list that became known was the clown car. That was the kind of trick, which was an entire boat full of shooty dwarves stuck into one boat that could redeploy at the start, and it was a super offensive alpha strike list, right? With units that were too cheap, with Ren 2 everywhere, which was stupid, flat 3 damage, which is stupid. Clearly a 40k book written for Age of Sigmar. But there were people, Joe Purcell's a really good example of people that ran other versions of that list where, other versions of Kharadron Overlords where he took like 120 Arcanauts, right?
Yeah.
Which was, I was a huge fan of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, first of all, it's like a different take on the book, which is good. That's always appreciated, right? Like when people try new stuff, that's cool. And Yo is Yo, so I mean, he's always taking the same unit and like multiply it as many times as he can, basically. And I mean, Arcanauts isn't a bad shout for that. Apart from the fact, I guess the army becomes a little bit stale and can't really answer that many questions, like the things I mentioned before. Like, what the fuck do you do against a Sylvanet Wildwood? You can't shoot anything that game. So you have to have like quite a open mindset when you go into trying to build lists for them at the moment.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, if there's something to say that is negative about the book, I'd say that some of the units have been made like pretty much inferior to others. I mean, the boats, for an example. I mean, currently I'm running one frigate in my list. That's a smaller boat, you actually don't know. And that's mainly just to transport dudes across the field. Like, I actually embark in my boats. Like the old Kharadrons, they disembarked only. But that embarkment gives me an extra move that I can utilize, right? But then we have units like the Sky Wardens, because you have two balloon guys, and you have Sky Wardens, and you have engine riggers. And Sky Wardens are the engine riggers that you buy from like the cheap store. They have worse equipment, they have worse rules, and they cost just as much as the engine riggers. So it's like that unit have no use. Apart from the one time when you face up against Nighthaunt and you have a unit of 3 with Sky Mines on it, but that's too narrow for me to justify them as
it might not be in the future. I just want to take see what some of the guys in the chat are saying, John. Just hold on to your thought. LOV saying breakfast with John and Rob, so over in Canadia. But it's 6:48 a.m. So good morning, mate. Afternoon, Chris Frostering. Afternoon, everyone. Realistically. Hi, Chris Frostering. Hope you're well. Pete Pratt. Hello. In bed with some man flu, so an impromptu chose cheered me up. I'm glad. A Mere Mouse makes Mark. You got his. Oh, hi, Mark. Made a good point. The fact that the whole book had to be FAQ talking about the Kharadron Overlords book is strong. Yeah.
I think, sorry, man, but I think just a quickie, but from a design perspective, I don't think it's good to build a book around units that do kind of the same thing.
Yes, they all do the same. They all do the same job, right?
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, I think I couldn't agree with you more. The Dreadwoods, hope you're really well. This is a nice distraction at work. Yeah, we don't often do the daytime because we do not. I mean, the economy is not doing great, and I think the more that we do afternoon shows, the more we're going to lower the productivity of several countries, in fact, in some cases. So we're always cautious doing afternoon shows.
Playing the long game.
yeah. I am an economic stimulus package.
Speaking of Redwood, I played against Redwood the other day.
Yes.
But I took a really wonky list. I took 2 frigates and the formation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but against Redwood, when you can only shoot 12 inches the first turn, it isn't that good. And basically, if I take 2 frigates, I can't take anything else. So I had two boats and a unit of engine riggers that could actually shoot through the woods. Wow. So it was hard, and it was a bad list, but I wanted to try it because hey, some things you just need to try, right?
Oh so I'm furiously painting up this army that I'm using at the heat at the weekend, and I've just told you that I already have like a version 2 of the Chaos Dwarf list, I also have a version 3 and 4, and I agree with what you said actually. It's a little bit of a shame, the Kharadron Overlords book, compared to many other books, in that just everything did the same, so you couldn't build it a different way, right? Whereas, Nighthaunt, you can't exactly build a shooting version of that army either. So sometimes when a book just is pigeonholed into playing a certain way, but I'm looking forward to building loads more of these. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm working on my new planner while I'm on the last week of my fit note. Not been well, and it's not been fun. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you're well. I hope you're all well. How is everyone in the Twitch chat, or on Facebook, or on YouTube? Hope you're well. And just let me know in the chat.
Streaming also, so many places, man. That's cool.
Say that again.
You're all over the internet now, man. Not just Twitch, Facebook, and shit as well.
Yeah. So when we stream on all 3 platforms at the same time. Because we don't have anything behind a paywall. So like if you wanted to because everyone who subscribes to the show subscribes just because they're big fans of the show, which I love, or they want to use that Roblin to spam that in other Twitch chats, the little goblin emoji, which is also amazing. But because you can watch all of our videos back for free anytime on Twitch, means that because we don't have any paywalls, means that what you can do is you can just watch any time, which is pretty swish. in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactamundo.
Exactamundo. Hi, Martin Orlando. Also, and this is important, hi, Tristan Gray. Hi, Mr. Tumnus. I think there's an important thing to say here. Rograx, who's currently in the chat, that's Tom, who is our 40k expert, who will be on the show later. It's his birthday today.
Yeah, I saw it, man. Congrats, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations. 14 years old, and he looks like 30. it's great.
He's actually 45 years old, but he looks 18 and a half. That's what that heavy lead water in Sheffield will do to you.
Yeah, leukemia.
So, yeah, what a wonderful man. I'm very excited to see him later and talk some Warhammer with him. And he's a wonderful dude, and I wish him a great birthday.
Yeah,
and if you get
happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday. What a babe. So what is everyone saying in the chat? Everyone said hi. There's some Underworlds drama from Bud and Glory, which I don't know of. If I'm honest,
Me either.
I don't follow Shadespire at all. Bon Clodger, what is the Underworlds drama? Sounds like hot goss. Arcan, I heard some talk about Warhammer Conquest magazine. I'd like to hear that too, please.
Tell you what.
Yeah.
I've never had such a big erection since when I ordered those Shadespire goblins, man.
Oh, really?
They're great.
They are not great. They're amazing. They're
amazing.
They are so good. They are.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I can't wait for that. Trogoth's not in the set either, is it?
No, it isn't. Like, I'm in a bet with my Swedish co-host for the Swedish podcast I run that I have to play Kharadron for 6 months.
Yes.
Which I gladly take. But if there comes a goblin army during that time.
Yeah, but you still won't be able to play the Goblin army. So you can still be playing the Kharadron army while you're painting the Goblin army, right?
Yeah.
That's the science of it. That's why I'm doing the play an army for a year challenge. Although 40k is testing me ATM. I won't lie.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess.
Just everyone said happy birthday, a happy 15th birthday to Tom. Tom says he's excited to drink soon.
Tom's 18, but his hair is actually thousands of years old.
If anyone's ever seen Deep Space Nine, the Trill are a race in Star Trek where they retain the memory of each host, and every time the host dies, they take the kind of like the symbiote and they plant it into a new Trill. And then they kind of take all the experience from and the past lives, so they kind of become an amalgamation of all the people that it's been implanted throughout time. That's Tom's hair.
That's Tom's hair.
That's Tom's hair, yeah.
It's basically Spawn.
So there's some important stuff about Underworld, so I'm excited to read it. Hi Sinise, hope you're well. I have goblins on order, says LLV. I'm really excited about that. I too have ordered those good boys, says Trista Gray. Many painting contests. So yeah, I'm going to announce later, but we're going to have I think we're going to run a regular contest on the Honest Wargamer now every month. And October's challenge is now in, and it'll be terrible to try and do now, but it's going to be the screenshot contest. I think that's what it's going to be, and we're just going to once a month. You can enter your best screenshot to the Honest Wargamer, and then we'll announce a date or when you're going to do it. And then because someone put some great ones up the other day, and if you want to do a bit of really poor MS Paint challenge on top of the screenshot, but whoever wins will obviously win a box of models, because I can promise to send you a box of models, and it might be an 8th edition box of Imperial Greatswords. That's what I can see from here. Some AOS objective markers. That's another thing I can see. I can comfortably promise to send someone a box of models for the next 8.5 years. I can't promise you what they're going to be, but it'll be something around the studio. So that's.
MS Paint is basically Photoshop, right?
You are?
MS Paint is basically Photoshop.
Photoshop is actually fancy MS Paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get the other fonts in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's exactly the same.
So again, so the company got like 4 times as much interest as expected and had to rent another warehouse for all the interest. The sheer amount of orders for the first few magazines means Games Workshop were doing daily shipments of those models for them. Oh, talking about the Conquest magazine. So basically, everyone's worked out that you can get a full Primaris army and a full Death Guard army for a lot cheaper than you would get them if you bought them retail.
Oh, that's the magazine that you only sell in the UK, right?
Yeah. But basically what's happened is that they've made like a rod for their own back, because instead of doing what they wanted, so we have this thing called W.H. Smith, so it's like a magazine. I know it's quite an oldie world idea now.
Yeah.
It's like a magazine shop. I mean, it does other stuff, so it's got like books and things. But effectively, what they wanted was people who were going in and buying a magazine to see that they could. I imagine why Games Workshop said yes is so the marketing idea is so someone's in there thinking about buying model trains, and then he sees he can get himself a model Space Marine. He's in the hobby now. He's coming into the shop and he's buying everything. But what's actually happened, in my opinion, is all of the people who are already into Warhammer have gone, wait, I can get models cheap. I'm in. I'll have 19 versions of that magazine, please. And so people have just subscribed for like multiple versions of the edition. And like Archeon said, it sounds like they're having to send daily, and they're obviously flogging them to them for cheaper, I imagine. So I imagine it's going to come back. That's going to come back to Games Workshop.
They're fine, dude. They're fine. I'm looking at their stock exchange for the last 5 years. They're fine. They're perfectly fine. It's just plastic.
And then apparently, talking about the Underworlds drama, so this is Shadespire Underworlds, this is at the Blood and Glory event, sponsored and run by Games Workshop through Ben Curry. So it's a Games Workshop event, effectively. Ben Curry works for them. Ooh, you didn't even challenge me on it, John. You just let it go. You let me. Go on.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with the truth. I'm not saying it's bad. It is what it is, man.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, they moved the Friday. They moved the whatever it's going to be, the Underworlds thing, to the Friday last minute, which meant a bunch of Europeans who were coming over for it, who had obviously booked hotels and travel to play, now can't play. So it's a big drama. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but
John?
In the Underworld, how big drama can you get in the Underworld?
Well, I don't know. I think quite a few people play Shadespire. Like, I know, for instance, Blood Bowl is massive in like Spain, where Warhammer's not particularly massive in Spain, but Blood Bowl's always been a really big thing.
Okay.
You know, I think one of the last
Blood Bowl. Obviously, that's not good. I guess that's not good. I wouldn't be happy if I was I am a foreigner, I guess, traveling in.
Pardon me?
I mean, I wouldn't be happy, I guess, if they changed my tournament like in the last minute. But it's like 1.5 months away, isn't it? Blood and Glory.
No, it's a month away. It's less than a month away. And actually, it's a week or so after the deadline to get a full refund, I think. Oh. I mean, look. I mean, there's an event happening, and some people have been put out by the TOs changing it around. That's their PR to change and chase and try to fix. I don't know. I think that's a bit sad for a bunch of people that wanted to go to that. You know, but that's You know,
I think I'm hosting my tournament.
All right. Well, I actually still want to talk to you about Kharadron Overlords, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm super interested, because I think your take on Age of Sigmar at the minute is quite interesting, and is kind of following along. Well, I don't really want to talk about it, but I'm going to anyway. Is following along with mine's with competitive Age of Sigmar, and Nathan's as well, that we talked about at the weekend. So I'm just going to follow this up. Hook and Pin, also thanks for subscribing for 2 months in a row. You are amazing, and you deserve to have a great day. Hi JPick, I hope you're well. The magazine is due to be sold in Europe in like 4 to 5 months' time, says Arkian. Wow. And the magazine company have already had to rent out another warehouse, John. Imagine how crazy that's going to go.
I mean, obviously they're making money from it, because according to their stock, they're as good as they have ever been.
Yes.
Well, a slight dip the other day, but hey, over a 5-year period, they're doing just fine.
They're doing just fine. Well, don't forget, it's not their magazine, though. It's a third-party company.
Oh, cool.
Do you know what I mean?
Got him!
Got him! That third-party company is like this. We're rich! And then Will Time says if it was released in Australia, obviously it would be $6 billion dues, which is absolutely fair. But the Postman can't deliver it anyway because they keep getting attacked by drop magpies and drop bears. Yeah, so it's just a dangerous time generally.
Yeah, I mean you don't want to be sending packages to prisoners, don't you? That's what they all are, aren't they? Isn't it?
Wow, wowie! To all the Australian listeners. So, John, have you heard of... I want to talk about Kharadron Overlords for a minute, but this kind of ties in a lot. Have you heard about CanCon?
Yeah.
So,
fucking amazing.
Absolutely amazing. So if you guys don't know, Clint over at Heralds of War and the Heralds of War team, as well as a few other people, have put on a 200... have sold in 4 months' time, and they sold them in like 3 days, a 220 ticketed Age of Sigmar event, which is going to be the biggest one in the world, as far as I know. I saw literally this morning, I was somehow thrown into a Twitter thread with everyone just badgering Clint to be like, make it, with the hashtag make it 300, because he wants, and it's because he's doing it at a convention, I think.
Hashtag bring out the styrofoam.
Yeah, hashtag make it 300. And Clint just put, no, I'm not. Hashtag it stayed at 220. And then it was just relentless, the people. So if anyone could go onto the @Heralds of War Twitter, and just the hashtag make it 300, would be wonderful, because Clint's wonderful. He doesn't deserve the abuse that you're about to send him. But he does. It's a kind of faux way of expressing our love and support for the fact that they're going to be running an amazing event. And Clint set up a GoFundMe to have me fly over and do all of the live coverage for the event.
Nice.
And it's currently at like $1,000, which, again, John, I don't really have a way to express how overwhelmed and happy it makes me. Like, it's mind-blowing. And he asked, do you want to work or do you want to play? And I'm like, I want to work, brother. I want to come over and I want to try and make the best live show I can. So I'm really hoping I can get to go over there, because then you're going to see not only a massive event, but you're going to see at least Bobo level coverage from probably the biggest Age of Sigmar event in the world. Which, yeah, I can't thank.
Australians are hilarious as well, right? So it's
absolutely hilarious. And I can announce now, and if you want to hear it, John, I can definitely guarantee who one of my co-hosts is going to be.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear who one of my definite co-hosts is going to be?
Absolutely.
It's Dispossessed Dan.
How are you two going to be in the same booth, man?
John?
Can you hear me?
Oh my God, I broke it. The fact that yeah, you are still there. It's Dispossessed Dan is going to be my co-host.
How are you going to be in the same booth, man?
We talked about this. We may have to call a Chaos Dwarf Dwarden truce for the day. Well, for the 2 days. But we said we might also just use the entire event to just rag on each other's army for 2 days. So who knows? It could be fascinating coverage. Where you just get to hear an Englishman and an Australian row and say bag of dicks as often as they can.
That's good, man. That's good.
Yeah, it's going to be really good.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got to say, big show. Hi, Zyko. Hi, Bob Monkey Cheese. I hope you're all well. Everyone who's joined us, thanks for that. It doesn't matter as one of the playtesters will win it, says Will Time, talking about the drama at Blood and Glory.
Oh, it never ends.
Wow.
Yeah, last year a playtester won it, didn't it?
Pardon me?
Last year a playtester won the event, didn't it?
Yes, a playtester, the man who was tasked with writing the articles that we see go up on Warhammer Community, and also the guy that does the Shadespire commentary. So the man who was given the most opportunity to learn as much as they could, and then was allowed to use the play-tested packs that they released on only that day of the tournament.
Nice.
Tactical.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Won it again. Good job. Hi, Retta Stanty. Hellstorm Dan. Yeah, dude, 4 of us going being that and taking 5 wave serpents. Oh, nice. Hello, Chapter Master Varak. Hope you're well. Bon Clodger. Thanks, Dan, Tom for putting in the Heralds of War stuff. Hi, Hellstorm Dan. Hi to all the Hellstorm boys. You guys are great. That's right. People excited about Dispossessed Dan in the chat. The best dwarf player in the world. Wow. So, John.
Yeah.
You've been playing with the Shooty Kharadron Overlords. And what is it about the Shooty Kharadron Overlords that you think people have forgotten that's making them, or you've pegged them as being a great army for competitive Age of Sigmar at the minute?
Well, people have basically forgot that they still shoot a lot, and they still have those rend attacks, and they still have the quantity of attacks. I mean, Arcanauts, as we talked about before. I mean, 24 skyhooks kills basically whatever it shoots at.
Mm-hmm.
And people have forgot that I played Khorne the other day with the take on Khorne as we have now with the Slaughter Priest and the formation with Slaughter Priest and shit.
Yeah.
And he moved up, and I think in one turn I took out 30 blood.
You broke up a bit, John.
Sorry, am I still here? Wait just a second.
No, John, you have to start all again, my friend. Meermouse is basically just written in the chat in short what I was going to spend a long time saying, which was basically, in my opinion, people have overreacted to shooting nerfs. It's overdue a comeback of sorts. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's kind of.
Absolutely.
That's,
am I better now? The sound, is it better?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, perfect. My Wi-Fi is messing up, I guess. No, but I played Khorne the other day. And had the Slaughter Priest and the Bloodletters and the big demon, the Bloodthirster, to make them run in charge and yada yada formation with the priest and shit. And I mean, he moved up, and I think in one turn I killed 30 Bloodletters, 10 Blood Warriors, brought a Khorne Berserker, 10 Blood Reavers.
Wow.
And I didn't shoot. I still had 60 shots left, I think.
Oh, that you just weren't in range to shoot anything of?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I still think, I mean, you could see his face that he got a bit pale. And I was like, yeah, they can still shoot, man. It's just, you get to play a turn now. But before you didn't even get to play a turn.
Yeah, but that turn is where they run into your shooting range, right? That's that turn.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, obviously, they can give me the first turn. But then again, like if I have an encounter, if I have cogs, I have Barak Mornar, I use the best command ability for Dwarf, which is like move, or always run 6. I get 12 inches, and then I can shoot 24 inches. So I can pretty much cover the board, like take out what I want to take out with the skyhooks. But I've been trying around, like Barak Mornar is really good. That run in charge the first turn is really good for Dwarves. I mean, board coverage is great for them. Movement 4 isn't. But I've been trying with the chemist as well. So I have 3 chemists in the list, and then I have 6 chemist buffs. I think it's a bit OTT. It's probably not needed. As I said, I had 60 shots left to shoot with.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think Barak Mornar will be good. But the big struggle that I'm having at the moment is objectives where heroes are scoring, or heroes with items and wizards. Because obviously Kharadron Overlords don't have any wizards. And the cheapest one we can take in is an encounter for 140 points. So what I feel like regarding allying mages and shit is that it's pretty much mandatory for an army that don't have mages to ally in mages. partially because of they help me scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is they can actually dispel, like shackles is the death of my army. If I can't move my army, I can't get an objectives, and that's how I lose games.
Yeah, so I'll mirror that thought, John. I previously had a flame cannon in my current iteration of my Chaos Dwarf list. So 140 points for potentially a 24-inch range D6 mortal wound attack, right? You know, not, but you know, it's 24 inches, quite far. It's tough to take out because it's got 6 wounds. But I dropped it for a Demon Smith and an Endless Spell, which I just think was just a great decision in my opinion. Because what I've got then is I've got a character, I've got a wizard who can cast and dispel if I want to. And the dispel is where I really was looking at. I can cast an Endless Spell that not only does mortal wounds, has some utility, which is really, really strong. And then that's still a bunch, and it has a shooting attack that does D3 mortal wounds as well. So I lost some long range capability, which is quite useful, but Age of Sigmar at the minute, like Mark was just saying in the chat, and kind of like everyone's saying at the minute, and like the stats that LLV has produced, kind of go to give an inclination of, I'm not saying that they're like, you know, that's exactly 100% of all the facts in the world, but it's more of a close combat game. It's a closer and tighter in game, so that shooting is just going to have a bigger impact, in my opinion.
Yeah, thanks as well. And I mean, it is what you make it. It's not true. But I feel facing up against those melee armies, I love it. They have to come to me, because I can shoot pretty much wherever I want, right?
Yeah. And
they have to come to me. And those scenarios like where I can build a castle, I mean, it's glorious, man. It's ridiculous, pretty much.
Yes.
But then again, I feel they can't ally they can only ally with other dwarves and Stormcast.
Well, I've actually got two. I got 2 great questions here. Number one, because I know what you've done is you've allied in now a Knight Incanter, right?
Yeah.
Right, and I'm wondering why you're not taking the Everblaze Comet for Stormcast, because I think that's an auto-include in almost every Order army.
I know, it's sitting on my desk. I have it right in front of me. I haven't tried it yet. I mean, I see great uses for it, but also I see great uses for a 5-man unit of Thunderers. Which is, yeah, exactly. The Gunstock Thunderers, not the dispossessed ones. Well,
speaking of endless spells, because I think the next iteration of this of my Chaos Dwarf army is gonna be a combat-based army, and it's my birthday next Tuesday, and one of the people on the show, Mr. LLV, was lovely enough. I woke up to a package this morning where he sent me the Beast of Chaos Endless Spells. Which was just wonderful. So I want to say a big thank you. That's absolutely amazing of you, and I hugely appreciate it. Means a lot to me. I still have to, unfortunately, one day go get a Zangor Shaman, which is going to emotionally hurt me because he's what I'm
Fuck you, man.
On a disc, no less. But it's not till next week. Today's Tom's birthday. So it's Tom's birthday today, but I got sent a package for my birthday, and that was wonderful. So I just want to say thanks. But that's going to be, that's kind of the other version of shooting, right? You cast the Baal Taurus, or not the Baal Taurus, the Flaming Bull spell, and then it gives everything that's in combat that turn, doesn't get to strike until everything else is fought. And that is going to be devastating to close combat in the future. So I think once we see these Beasts of Chaos armies on the rise, you're going to see that, unless, and this ties into another conversation, John, and I would like to still hear more about what you feel about the Everblaze Comet. Some people just don't take things I expect people to take. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
I just don't think, I don't know why no one is, I don't know why the Everblaze Comet isn't in every list. So my first question to you is, why isn't it in your list?
I mean, it's not 100% not in my list yet.
Yeah.
But I feel like one reason I take the Encounter is to be able to dispel spells and dispel endless spells. And you dispel endless spells instead of casting spells, right?
Yeah.
So that if I come up against a chain, what are they called? The chains, shackles.
Yeah, soul snare shackles specifically.
Exactly. So that means my combat won't go out until turn 3, maybe, when I'm in position. Mm-hmm. And then it's 2 turns of me not using the combat, which is a little bit of a waste. The second thing is Thunderers, which is a mediocre unit in everyone's eyes. But if you're playing Kharadron Overlords, they should be one of your best units. Because do you know what a unit of Thunderers do?
I don't. Give me a second. I just want to tell me, but let me just quickly read out what everyone's in the chat saying. Mr. X is saying hello, so I'm saying hello. Also, Hellstorm Dan said, I don't understand how a big ship, he's talking about Kharadron Overlords, can have only a 4+ or 5+ save. I think he's talking about the ships.
I can answer that. It can get cover save, so we're fine.
There we go. I just saw a conversion with a Chaos Dwarf right on top of a ball. I'll try tracking it out. I've seen it, Sinise. I am one of the few people who's in the Chaos Dwarf chat on Facebook. It's a great time. Great time. And also Mere Mouse's list, so Mark, is a great list talking about anti-chaos, anti-fighting. He's taking the Taurus for the Beast of Chaos. He's going to cast it into an army, and then he's going to run 4 chimeras at it. So then they're going to do 4d6 mortal wounds and some shooting, and then they're all going to strike before the enemy strikes you.
If you make it there, man. If you make it there.
Well, that's what he's just said. He said with no shooting about, it would cause chaos. Yeah.
Because that's the thing, like, with my Kharadron list, I have fully accepted that any unit that touches my unit will kill my unit. Like, let's say Arcanauts, for example.
Yeah.
They're so bad at close combat that they're afraid of other Arcanauts. So I have accepted that anything that touches my unit will kill my unit.
Yeah.
I think that's a healthy mindset as well, like for the Kharadron.
Okay.
But the Thunderers, okay, hold on to your hat, man.
Yeah.
So instead of fighting, they can make a move, and that includes running.
Oh wow!
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
And that's super nice. That's super nice. So they basically skinks with a 4-up save, 4-up save, and cost 100 points, and they can shoot, I guess. But the shooting isn't mainly for what they're there for. It's just to be able to deny close combats and or bubble wrap for that matter.
Wow, that's really good. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good. Hold on, I just want to say, Sinise has also just talked about. No, Zakul saying I'm going to run a mono Celeste demon army. The sheer speed of the army will mitigate a lot of the shooting. You'll have 1 turn of shooting at most before I'm in combat. There we go. So maybe people are thinking, we're thinking everything now is, I think shooting's making a comeback, and then someone's going, well, I'm going to make anti-shooting now before shooting makes a comeback. That's smart, right?
Yeah,
and then Heralds of War is asking, who's chatting about me? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, no, I'm not going to make that joke. That was too easy. Plus, I don't really know your personal situation. I'm not going to, no mum jokes today. But it was so close. Hi, Mikey. Hope you are. Yeah, go on. You were saying, John?
What was I saying? No, Thunderers. They're great. They're a great unit for the army. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. But at the moment, I'm running 2 units of Arcanauts.
Yeah.
Sorry, Thunderers. But I could see myself running 3.
All right. Cool.
And regarding the Arcanauts, I mean.
Wait, but you haven't answered my question. Why aren't you taking the Everblaze Comet?
Oh, I thought I answered that. So, if I play against a person with shackles, obviously my priority is to, instead of casting a spell, dispel the shackles. I mean, I could use her once per game, dispel the shackles, absolutely. But also, the realm spells. The realm spells are great. They're good.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So they are also a reason why I have her or him in the list to be able to utilize them. And trust me, like when you start to build Kharadron lists now, you will find that having 100 points to spare is really hard.
Okay.
Because they are quite every unit is over 100 points, like 120 to 160, like standard. So you don't get that many units to play around with.
Yeah, like for me, especially with Order at the minute, and Order don't have access to a lot of endless spells, and I know I'm not currently like, I know, like, and I would love to hear some other people's thoughts on it, to be honest. But it's about the utility of the Everblaze Comet. It's the bunker buster. Yeah. It's the bunker buster comet, right? It's your army. Well, it's an auto dispel. You're paying for an auto dispel wizard caster who also is a bit of a, he's an old school arcane bolt like bang machine, because it's the old version of arcane bolt with potentially D6 mortal wounds. I think that's that. Yeah, I think that's the Incantor. And then he's got the Suicide Vest as well. So there's loads of in scroll utility. But then when you go to the Overblaze Comet, you're just like, do you know what? If my opponent castles or my opponent needs a bunch of characters to be next to each other in order to function well, then I've just got the answer to that. It's just right there. And it's massive range. It's a huge volume of mortal wounds for 100 points. Like, again, if I compare it to my my Magma Cannon for Chaos Dwarves, which is 140 points. And I know if someone's listening to this podcast or the show and is going, yeah, but don't forget you've got to pay the points for the Incantor as well. I'm like, but it still does a load. And you've already included the Incantor in your army, right? Because you need it for the spells or to the dispel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then, do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I see the argument for it. But I also see the argument for Thunderers. I see the argument for making one unit of 6 Ender Riggers to a unit of 9 Ender Riggers.
Yeah.
There are so many things to try out. So, like, my list is very loose at the moment. If I take the Everblaze Comet, I feel like I have to use it really well, because the other stuff just gives me shit on the board at once. It can make me castle up. It can make me play on more objectives on the missions that I don't get to castle up, like Scorched Earth, for an example.
Yeah.
Where I have to spread my army out. The Everblaze Comet doesn't mean nothing there. I mean, it's a good spell. Don't get me wrong. I will try it out also. But a big unit of Arcanauts is just so good. So I have a list here for you with the Everblaze Comet.
All right, give me a sec. I just want to see what some of the guys in the chat are saying. Because Bon Clodger's got a question. After the Thunder and Nerf, do you just give them all rifles or some of them special weapons? Asked Bon Clodger.
Just rifles.
Just rifles. Okay, good call. Adequate Wargamer, question for John. Have you played a game with the Comet?
No, not yet. I played against it.
Okay.
And again, like, I see its uses. Because it's really a AoE arcane bolt, isn't it? And I can see the real big frustration is if you can't dispel it, because a lot of armies can't.
Yeah.
Then you just have to accept it. And I guess you can bait out endless spells. But then again, if you're up against Nagash, for an example, you probably won't get it off unless you hide your encounter, and then you can't dispel Nagash's more important spells. So it's like,
Well, it's got massive range. I mean, yeah, it depends.
Yeah, it's got massive range, absolutely. Yeah. But you want the encounter range of being able to spell Nagash important spell like Pinions, for an example.
Yes.
And if you're in that range, that means Nagash will attempt to dispel a common.
Yeah, but I would say it's not designed. It's not like you would switch up. So if we were just having a conversation, if it was me, and if I was planning on taking a Knight Incantor as well as including what other army, and I was to ask myself or talk to myself about his utility. If I'm playing Nagash, his utility is the auto dispel. That's more important initially than casting the Comet, because they've got mortal wound saves in a death army, more so than anyone else. Obviously, they've got the ignores, and they've also got the ability to regenerate into skeletons and stuff. So I don't think the Comet is going to do enough damage into a kind of healing army. So the dispel is more of a big deal. Where if you switch it around and I'm playing Stormcast, I'm just going to pop him outside of, and depending on what army I'm playing and whether or not they've got Comet, you know, I'm going to put my guy outside of dispel range and then just bang a Comet into their army, and they're not putting wounds back into those units, and they're taking mortal wounds, which they don't like. Sylvaneth, I'm doing it to Sylvaneth all day long. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's switching depending on who I'm playing, but you have the ability to do both, which is just crazy. But that's my thoughts if I was attacking it. I just want to say, Caleb X Hanilio, thanks for subscribing via Twitch Prime. Means loads to us. Datcom says Auto Dispel is so good. Also, Haywo's in the house, and if you get the opportunity to go over to his YouTube channel, please do. I used to think Celestant Prime was a bit of an auto ally in Order. As soon as Comet came out, I'm like, well, Incanter Comet it is. And then the issue is, it's really hard to cast Comet as Order doesn't have much plus to cast. And they've got to, well, it's below the average to cast, right? It's a 6 to cast. And your average is 7. So you are more likely to get it than not.
It's a dice game, and I think we could call it 50-50.
Yeah, all day long.
Yeah.
And then Bob Monk Cheese is doing a cheeky plug, which I'm happy to talk about. I'm doing a week-by-week walkthrough of Warhammer 40k Conquest subscription, says Bob Monkey Cheese, and his YouTube is Bob Monkey Cheese. It's literally as it sounds, Bob Monkey Cheese. So go and check that out. That sounds really fun, especially as that's probably going to be the biggest selling magazine on earth this year. With 2 Incanters, they unsummon and then resummon each turn, I found, which is crazy, talking about the Comet.
Yep.
Question, is there any way Rob could live with himself if he does not convert a bull into a baby war mammoth? Sunise, I'm super lucky LLV sent me that bull, the Beast of Chaos spell, because I think I want like 8 boxes of that. Because you know the horn, John, that's in that box as well. And I got to say that's the best release so far, in my opinion. The Herdstone and that box of endless spells, and if anything, it's got like Do I give a fuck? It's a money grab by Games Workshop. I don't care. It's amazing. I love that they've added on the physical spells. I've just painted up my Geminids, and they look great. And when I cast them on it's just it adds that magic to the game, right? They're just like flying around, and I'm like, ew, and I'm fucking so excited. So yeah, casting the bull spell, that's going to be amazing. I'm so excited to see what other spells come out in the game. I want to try and build a list that's just endless spells and wizards. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. Anyway,
so
go on, keep talking.
So the guys in the chat, they want to hear my list that I have.
Okay, yeah, they do.
So this is one take that I'm going to play the next time I play them, which is probably I think tomorrow. So Kharadron Overlords from the realm of Ashki. That's fire, for you who don't know. They are Baraknar, which is hopefully I got it right. I think it's the Chemist Skyport, which gives the Chemist an ability to buff an additional weapon on another unit. So I still have 4 Chemist buffs, but I want to have 2 Chemists. So 2 Chemists, and one has the Aethershock Airbuster, which actually got better now, because Inspiring Presence only works in the Battle Shock phase, and this is now to sequence Battle Shock tests in the shooting phase, which they can't do anything about. They have to take it. And the other Chemist is my General. He has the trait Dauntless. Pre-Age of Sigmar 2 or pre-New Points, people took the ability to be able to redeploy the ship. And I don't see it useful now, because basically I don't have any ships, and even if I had ships, I wouldn't take it anyway, because Dauntless gives me a 5-up against mortal wounds.
Wait, hold on. I need to ask a question. So you're a Swedish man.
Yeah.
Famed, your country and race famed the world over for filling yourselves up with ships. And going reaving, and you're not taking the ships.
They're flying ships, man.
Oh.
If they were real boats,
I'd get in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right.
But he also has the Ignax scales, so he basically has a 5-up against mortal wounds, then a 4-up against mortal wounds. So you can basically hug that Comet if it comes to it. So that's good. And also, I mean, it's a bit resilient against spells and stuff. Then I have one unit of 30 Arcanauts, and they all have Skyhooks. So that's 9 Skyhooks. And the Skyhook is the rend 2d3 damage shots. Unfortunately, they hit on a 4-up, which is bad. And in the Skyport, there's no way for me to get that any better. But then again, I have 10 Arcanauts, 10 Arcanauts. So that's my battle line. And I think that's a shame with the book. They only have one battle line option, which is in the Arcanauts. I think they should have Thunders as an option as well to be battle line.
Okay.
I think that would be. I mean, yeah.
What if you had to take? And I feel really bad that I forget his name, but the dwarf general who's a balloon dude.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. My question is, if he made your guy's battle line, would you take him?
Yeah, maybe. I've been looking at Brock as well, but I'm an insane man, right? I did the formation with 2 boats and try that out. But I think like having Brock in back Siflin list, we can drop down and then charge because he's quite decent in combat and it's a 3-up save and get covered with sneak shit. I mean, I haven't outruled it, but in theory, it isn't as good as the thing I got going on here. That's basically he's too expensive. I think it's 240 or
he's too strong.
Yeah. But then I have 6 Endrin Riggers and 9 Endrin, and then a unit of 9 Endrin Riggers.
Mm-hmm.
The unit of 6 all have swords, the melee weapons.
Yeah.
And the unit of 9 has 3 harpoons. To be able to swing across the board and grab stuff. I mean, they're movement 12. So they can go places even without the hooks. But if I would bump the unit of 6 up to 9, the only thing I would do is add harpoons, basically.
Okay.
Sky Wardens versus Endrin Riggers. Before there were a reason to take Sky Wardens, they were a bit cheaper, and you can give them drill cannons, so they can shoot. They can shoot good. But you can also give Endrin Riggers drill cannons. And Endrin Riggers and Sky Wardens are exactly the same price at the moment in points. The big difference is the Endrin Rigger has this gauntlets they can shoot with 3 shots each, rend 1, damage 1, 3 up, I think. Yeah. Which is far superior on the Sky Wardens. So the only reason for me to take Sky Wardens at the moment, if I have a very local meta, and in my local meta there are 3 out of 5 Night Hunt players, and I'll use them as bubble wrap because of the Sky Mines.
Okay, fair enough.
The Sky Mines are quite decent, actually. Like, if you charge a unit of fly, charge them. You roll a dice for each model in the unit, and on 6 to take a mortal wound.
Okay.
So it could work against Night Hunt with just big blocks of flying shit, right? But
Night Hunt is still going to happen. I'm still calling it here. I still don't know. I still don't know where they are, but they are out there.
100% agreed.
I'm very excited. John. This weekend, obviously, it's the Warhammer World finals for the heats. I'm super excited about taking my army. I don't think it's a 6-game tournament, which I love. Yeah, man Warhammer or woman Warhammer. They can be just as strong as men, but generally like fucking baller Warhammer, in my opinion. Hi, Canhammer. Hope you're doing well. I'm just excited to see all the armies. I'm excited to see what everyone's gone for. I'm excited to see the mix. I'm excited about my games, don't get me wrong. I'm really excited about running some people over the War Mammoth and then watching them die in the first turn, some other games. But I'm Jones to play, don't get me wrong. I'm super excited about my army personally. But I'm more interested to see what people are taking, what's happening. Really excited to see the mix and match of armies out there. It's going to be just exciting. I'm going to take loads of pictures. I'm going to try and I'm going to drop some voice notes into Discord because I think that's probably going to be the most efficient way for me to get information around and out to people. But, from my interpretation of what I'm seeing. But I'm just excited, and I'm hoping someone's brought all the Night Haunt. So we'll see. I don't know. There's going to be some Order Draconis there. I'm just pumped.
We can rant about Night Haunt in 2 seconds, man, because I have a thing or two to say about them. But I'm just going to finish off the list with saying I have 3 units of 5 Thunders and the Burning Head.
Okay, the Burning Head. I convinced you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's solid, man. It's really solid. And especially because most of my army, or like the bulk of my army, hit on a 4-up. And my motto is, if there is a 4-up and I can't improve it in any way, like give it a reroll or give it +1 to hit, I don't take it, because 4-up is way too swingy.
Yeah.
But that Burning Head makes it viable.
Yeah.
And this is just specifically in this alchemy or this chemist list. I run the Burning Head to get those reroll ones.
Yeah, I'd be tempted in a. I think there's probably a Chaos Dwarf list that's ultra shooty that I could take, where I could get some reroll ones on some. I don't know. I'm excited about the next year to see where I get those reroll ones on all the War Machines and the Fireglaves at the same time from the Burning Head. And that's just solid. In my opinion, it sounds like a great list. I would much prefer if I could see this list in some sort of written format with some sort of written guide underneath it. But I'm sure at some point in the future that'll be possible. That'll be possible. But do you ever get that thing, John? Do you ever get that thing where someone just Facebooks you a list, a picture, and go, "What do you think?" And I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like,
hashtag Frank Delusion.
If you're listening, Frank, yeah. Jesus Christ. Hashtag, what do you think of this list? Well, Frank, I'm eating my breakfast. I don't fucking know. Yeah. What a wonderful man.
He is a wonderful man.
He is a wonderful man. Or hashtag Simon Speckles. Yeah. Fucking hell. If he sends me one more Nighthaunt list, he's like, what do you think of this? And I'm like, well, every time it's a Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, Speckles.
Kitten dies.
And then you've either changed how many Reapers you have or haven't got. Yeah. But I suppose that's a part of it, right? Like everyone checking, and I do that. I ask for some feedback. I spoke to Nathan about the list I'm taking this weekend. To answer the other quick Wargamer, my list that I posted in Discord, the one with Scar, is almost that. I've changed up. I've decided to take the War Mammoth this weekend because I just think it's going to be radical, in my opinion, and really fun, and actually does something. That's fine. Let's go. Fuck it. I'll just say it anyway. Does something that a lot of people don't really see on paper initially, and it gives me a first turn charge. And because
is it the base size that you don't see on paper initially?
Well, there's that. That's key. It is. That's correct. It's hashtag a shit list. My list. So don't get me wrong. But it's because if someone looks at my army and goes, actually, you've got a limited range on those guns, so I'm just going to sit back for a turn. The Mammoth makes my opponent, it puts them in a position where they go, well, actually, moves 12 inches. Most deployment maps are 18 inches. I really don't want it to be charging me in the first turn. So I'm going to go charge it, Or, and this is really important, people are going to go, oh, it's fine, I've made myself a little defensive screen. And then his tusks, Jonathan, this is the key bit, his tusk attack has got 3-inch range. And you know that people don't measure stuff. People do not measure. They go, oh, they just sat behind, that's going to be fine. Yeah. And then I'm just going to charge in, and then he's going to just whomp something with that 3-inch range tusk attack. So I think it's got more utility than maybe it seems on paper. But it's also a fun choice, I think. And maybe, I'm torn between having that, and then trading up and having a Skullcracker and a Magma Cannon. So at the minute, I feel that that's a better choice. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Having played a few games after this weekend, I'll be able to say, do you know what? It's always going to have a target, right? I think.
Yeah. And you want those inches in the movement phase as well.
Yeah, and also, and this is really important, Will TM has just put, I wonder how many people will take the bait with the Mammoth, and I think many people. He's just going to be out there, stood on his own, like, hello, I'm bait. I am literally that last rhino in Africa. Here I am, yeah? And then everyone's going to be like, I want to go kill that fucking mammoth. And it's like, come here, come and get me. And then he fucking moo horns his way into you. So we'll see. We'll see. He's cheap though. He's 320 points. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's cheap. I mean, the big boat for Kharadron is, what is it, 420, 430, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Pontious. What's the word? Pontious.
Plus, there are some realm spells to make him ridiculous. So
yeah.
I think thanks, Adequate Wargamer. Keep the mammoth. I'm going to keep the mammoth. I think it's the right decision personally. Really is. So Hellstorm Dan says, thoughts on Idoneth as an army. In my opinion, Hellstorm Dan, it's a top tier army currently. You should be able to, if you build it right, you can probably win 5 games at a tournament with it. That's just unquestionable. And I think beyond the eel list, there's probably a thrall list as well that people just haven't played well enough yet, right?
Yeah, I think so as well. Absolutely. I think the eel list is a potential candidate to jump ship list. Because it requires very little for Games Workshop to make that list a lot worse than it is today.
It would take Go on.
And me as also an Idoneth player. Also, have you seen my Idoneth army? It's at Warhammer World now.
Yeah, I have. Do you mean Warhammer TV Dan's 3 different Idoneth armies cobbled together to make his Idoneth army this weekend?
Yeah.
Goddamn tramp, isn't he?
Yes, and he's not even using my Eidolon, and I painted it so pretty. And I was like, oh,
well,
okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Go on.
No, sorry, man. Go on.
Well, no, I think so. Just to answer the question, I'm currently painting 70 Fireglaive guns. Gentlemen, there you go, loads of guns that are going to go on the front of my Fireglaive dudes. So they have to be finished today, because I'll be playing games all day tomorrow. But I don't think that's going to be much of an issue, to be honest. And then, although I would have maybe liked to have spent longer on these, just because I would have liked to have tried some blending on the glaive bits. But what's nice is about the resin from Forge World, as long as I only put a teeny tiny bit of super glue on the joints where they connect, they're quite simple. This sounds bad, but they are quite simple to just snap off and then and do a bit more on, which I do sometimes like about the resin part of that you can glue it together quite easy. So that's what I'm doing currently. And then guys, Canhammer TV says, guys, thoughts on Morgul in Nighthaunts. John, you got any thoughts? And you wanted to talk about Nighthaunt, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I want to rant about them a little bit. Morgul is like 2017 called. They want their War Scroll back. They have updated War Scroll of that one now, right? Not they?
Mm?
And I'm going to be perfectly honest, say I haven't read the new Morgul War Scroll. Actually.
It can do a lot of mortal wounds if you build it right, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it probably would need more research than we could just tell you off the top of our heads, if we're honest, because that's kind of what we do as the show. We don't actually just go, oh, yeah, good. So give us some time on that one, and we'll try and get some feedback to you about how we feel about it. Just keep. I mean,
what's that 3-1? But
go on.
The mechanic for Nighthaunt. Let's be honest here. How do you put points on a unit that on a 10-inch charge get the fight in the charge phase? How do you put points on that?
You don't. Like it's the same with the casting value for the death spells. But for me, that's the strongest part of. It's not pointed, basically, in my opinion. Like if you look at the night, so what Jonathan's talking about is the allegiance ability that Nighthaunt have, where if they roll a 10 to charge, they get to fight before the combat phase happens, so they get to immediately fight, which means also then they can pile in the next, and they can fight again. So effectively, a unit can fight twice if it rolls a 10-inch charge, and it's and the army currently, in my opinion, Nighthaunt isn't pointed with that in mind, and I don't think you can point with it in mind because it's so random. Yeah. In which case,
so random, but it's so huge as well.
This is what I've said. I've talked to loads of people about Nighthaunt, like in private at the minute, about about Nighthaunt armies and about whether they're good or not good. And I keep coming back to the same conversation. I keep saying they're really, really good. If you make 10-inch charges, they just, like, so they're good and you can win games. If you make 10-inch charges, you don't even have to be great. But it's not something you can rely on. Like, you know, there's a risk-reward factor in Age of Sigmar. Well, there's a risk-reward factor in Warhammer. And some people, and most pro gamers, don't tend to build their armies around risk-reward. They tend to build it around safety choices. Like LLV was just saying in the chat earlier on, we were talking about Everblaze Comet. He's like, it's a 6 to cast, so, you know, it's difficult to cast. And I'm like, no, it's just not an auto to cast. And it depends what game system you've come from. 40k players who move into Age of Sigmar play incredibly safe armies and sometimes worry about the double turn mechanic. Or they see it as a bonus. They go, I get to go twice. But Age of Sigmar players that have been playing for a long time use the double turn mechanic to play in a better way for the priority roll as it's coming, if that makes sense. You know, they don't necessarily want the next turn in some cases. And then following on from that thought process, wait, I forgot myself trapped in a list. No, I read something on the thing. Yes. And so when you start looking at Nighthaunt and you look at the 10-inch charge, yeah, because it's a risk. There we go. Thank you. Because it's a risk-reward factor. Yeah, you haven't made a good player should have put their unit of, let's say, Grimcast Reapers outside of 9 inches or 10 inches or, you know, 3 inches. It doesn't matter. And they go, okay, I think I can win this fight, or this fight is beneficial to me because I've made that movement. Right? I've decided already I'm going to charge this unit. If I roll a 10, that's taken it from good to great because we've all
taking a piss.
Yeah. Like we've all like looked at units and gone, oh, if this giant hits with everything and wins with everything, maybe I win this combat. Like we've all made those choices, right? Where you need a unit to overperform above the average, or you just, you know, I need this unit to do this job. It could or it couldn't. Or the other way where you go, this unit will do this job, and then it doesn't. It completely fucks it. You know, like VLOS is Vampire Lords and Zombie Dragons just doing nothing. And that's why I think the Nighthaunt Allegiance ability is so strong, because it's giving you a bonus at the point where you've already made a positive decision for yourself.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And it's like, yeah, absolutely. It's just, and as an opponent who played a guy, my Swedish co-host, and I think he did 4 10-inch charges against me, and it just killed the game.
It just killed the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I mean, 4 10-inch charges is like, okay.
No, you win.
Yeah.
Because also a big 10-inch charge as well gets you in places because they've all got the fly keyword. I think Nighthaunt, I 100%, hi Moobs, hi Nick also, first Brain Squig, he's painting Marathi up for this weekend. I'm excited about that.
Nice.
I think Nighthaunt is stronger. I think the Nighthaunt units are stronger in Nighthaunt than maybe they even are in Legions and Nagash. Now, some people are going to argue with me and not agree. This is just my opinion. Yeah. And if you are better at those armies and you've done better with those armies, or you've played them a lot more, I will bow to that judgment 100%. But for me, just like from a mechanical perspective, it seems to be better.
Yeah, I'm thinking like with Kharadron. I was talking about Sky Wardens earlier and how they are good versus Nighthaunt.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of taking the cogs and cast them and slow down time, just so some armies who need cogs can't benefit from cogs.
Right. Yes. I mean, the Sylvaneth players at the minute are all about casting cogs. Yeah, that's their thing. They're like, I pop out the wood, I've cast cogs, I make my 9-inch charge +2, so it's actually a 7-inch charge. It's pretty reliable now, you know, and they're loving it. And if we look at people like Laurie this weekend, just gone, who did really well with a Sylvaneth army, and another young gentleman did really well with Sylvaneth army, that's their strategy at the minute, and I think it's a solid one. You know, it's a natural dice roll of a 10 that does the 10-inch charge, that gives the extra combat for Nighthaunt. So you still have to roll the 10, but you know, popping up outside of a gravesite outside of 9 with cogs cast for Nighthaunt means it's a 7-inch charge, which is the average. And you could spend a command point, which you could re-roll if you have a hero nearby. So you've got that.
They will get in. they will get in, and they will get cogs up as well because they take the special character. We can blow out candles, give them a ridiculous amount of plus to cost, so they will get cogs up as well. It's just a matter of, are you able to cast cogs before they do?
I just think, I don't know. I think Nighthaunt are a really solid army. I keep talking about it. I just interested, and you keep playing against them, and so I'm excited. I'm excited to see how they do at the finals this weekend. I'm looking forward to the future. Looking forward to army. I mean, I think it's a horde army that's quite expensive, realistically. So, but then witch elves are out there, right? And people are running them. So, and it's a fun army. I want to I've got no issue fighting the Daughters of Cain, but I'd be super pumped to fight like a bunch of ghosts. It's just cool, right? Like Age of Sigmar looks so fascinating. It looks so exciting at the minute. You know, you've got like armies of ghosts and like crazy witches, and you've got like big dragons running around eating everything, and then the army of the undead. It just looks brilliant. And then you've got the spells on the board.
Aesthetically, it's the best, right? Aesthetic.
Yeah, it's just.
I love it, man.
It's just so good, so good. It's in a massively good place. I can see why it's exploding all over the world, in my opinion.
I think, like my honest opinion is that Sigmar has never been in such a good place as it is now.
I don't know if a tabletop war game has been in the good place it is now. If we're using Sigmar as the benchmark, I think when you go and look at other tabletop war games, you have to take Age of Sigmar now, currently, at least aesthetically and gameplay wise, as the benchmark. Narratively, which is where 40k kicks its fucking dick in all day long. Yeah, and potentially.
Tell you what, though, I really enjoy these short stories, man.
Yeah, me too. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying there's loads more. Oh, Angry Wargamer, thanks for subscribing. You were a babe.
Isn't 40k just like basically a sob story about, oh, I like my dad, but he doesn't like me?
Nah, man. The Horus Heresies. The Horus Heresy series of books. Like me and Nick were talking last night, and I said to Nick, I was like, Nick, have you read Mechanicum? Which is like book 10 in the Horus Heresy. He's like, no, I haven't read it. I'm like, if you're an Imperial Knight player and you haven't read Mechanicum, are you even an Imperial Knight player? In my opinion, it's so goddamn good, and it's a great book. It's a great read. Gives you some really good insight, and especially as you then get to just like finish the book, pick up your Imperial Knight army, and go play an Imperial Knight game. It's just badass. It's like the background is the good bit. For me anyway, it gives me that context. That's right. Yeah. Right, John, I want to ask you about Swedish tournaments in a second. Hold on.
Nice.
LOV saying people sleeping on the battalion that turns 10-inch charges into a 9-inch charge. I think that's a fair point. I wonder how well KO list with the Skysport gets that bonuses against units that fly and is built to focus on volume of fire rather than rend, Aether machine guns, etc. will do against Nighthaunt, says Provoke Tree, which is a really good point. Moves.
I've been thinking about that as well.
Good. Moves has put -4 to hit in combat for Plague Bearers. Good move. Or will I lose friends? Great move. Absolutely solid. Although
you can't lose what you don't have.
That's right, Moves. You can't lose what you don't have. I mean, that's a really good point. But like we've talked about, and I talked to Don Dino once, and we were saying that when you make people not able to play the game, that's when they find their game unenjoyable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not good in a sportsmanship meta to have the debuff army. And the shooting army isn't good as well for a sportsmanship.
Yeah. Also, yes, to answer Mr. Tumnus, he's asking, can I put the War Mammoth in a Beast of Chaos Force? You 100% can. It's got the Monsters of Chaos keyword, and it's also got the Slaves to Darkness keyword, so anything that can ally with Slaves to Darkness, you can ally with the War Mammoth. Also, the War Mammoth can take a Mark of Chaos, which some people don't know. And that's a really big deal because you can make it that's really clever. And the Barracks Zifling Arcanauts will have 18 athematic volley gun shots that reroll 1s to hit and wound against flying units, enemies. Downside is they hit 5s on non-monsters, non-heroes. Oh, okay.
I think it's decent though. I think it's decent because you get that amount of threshold in the quantity. So versus Horde armies, absolutely. But I just think that the Skyhooks are probably more all-comer than the quantity from those guys.
Okay. Also, Unicorn John, who's been doing a different squig every day of Squigtober, as a Jurorin, which looks amazing. Anyone got any ideas for today's Squigtober? I got to say Ghost Squig. When's that happening? Ghost Squig.
Ghost
Squig.
In the realm of Shyish.
And the Geek Reads just put Mechanicum is one of the best Horus Heresy books. Just amazing imagery. There's this amazing like last charge, and it's just so good. I'm super into it. Oh no! Hold on. Good. Yeah. And then fine. Oh no, wait. I'm talking between starting Nighthaunt or Fireslayers. Wally Puff. Wally Puff, in my opinion, Nighthaunt. Fireslayers, like Jonathan said with Kharadron Overlords, they all kind of play the same a little bit at the minute. Whereas you've got like a little bit more variety with Nighthaunt, in my opinion. I'm not talking because that's my thoughts anyway.
Fireslayers is one of those jump ship armies.
Okay, so John, you want to talk about this term, don't you? So let's talk about it.
I don't know if there's much content to it, but there are some jump ship armies, which I think.
Okay, you can't keep saying it without explaining what the words mean.
Okay, sorry. So a jump ship army to me is when people build a list and then they copy paste it, and then something happens to it. Let's say a new General's Handbook, which make the list, let's say 2,600 points or 2,050 points, and then they say that it isn't playable anymore, and they jump ship. Then they jump ship and change army.
So I think probably what you're referencing is what people like, for instance, the Idneth Eel army is the army at the minute, which is funny, obviously, because it's nautical themed as well. In that because the eels are really cheap, people take a lot of eels and then they do really well competitively. However, as soon as the eels' points will change, then that army becomes, in those people's minds, competitively unviable. So what it is people taking undercosted units and then moving on to another. I think there might be a better way to describe it, but moving on to another army, right?
Yeah. And I think it's kind of boring, because I think even if they like me, I have an Idneth army, right? I painted it up and I played it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would like to see that the Morsar Guard.
You what? Say again. Jonathan seems to have gone there. He's actually jumped ship out of the chat, so I'm sure we'll hear him back in a moment. It'll be fine. The problem is he powers his internet via a moose, who is constantly being hunted in Sweden, so he's always in a bit of trouble. That poor moose powering the internet box. But I'm sure he'll be back in a moment, at which point I get to talk to you guys. There's a squig-wheeled buggy. Not into that. Bailing off the bandwagon, meta chasing lists. Yeah, I don't know. For me, I don't really see it as problematic, because I think it goes as a testament to, it's the same way people talk about internet lists or net lists, and they say, I can't believe someone's running a net list. And I don't think that's a thing, personally. I think people see that things are good. Yeah, you are back. I'm just saying, I don't think net lists are a thing, Jonathan.
I don't think so either.
And the reason I say that I don't think they're a thing is because what they are, like, we'll talk about, like, for instance, Scar Bloodwrath, in my opinion, is the best unit.
Oh no! Don't mention him. Don't mention him. Don't make people know about him.
Oh, we already did on Monday.
Shit!
Yeah,
what have you done?
Shit! He's the best. He is the best unit for points in Age of Sigmar currently, in my opinion. Now, if he starts appearing, like we just talked about the Everblaze Comet, if he starts appearing in every army list, then that's just because people are making smart choices, right? My follow-up is that quite often those supposed army lists aren't actually even as good as people think that they are. And then kind of like a follow-up to that, I think, if this is okay. No, actually, what do you think of that so far, John?
Yeah, I agree. It's like, I think, mainly because of realms, I think that the meta is so ever shifting at the moment that a net list is not a thing. I mean, we have allegiances that can be good, but a specific net list, I think, will probably die out if it haven't already. Because different lists will perform so differently in different runs.
Yeah, which is, and again, I'm hoping people realise this. This is why I'm super focused on playing an army for a year, and learning the depths to which, like Mark Meermouse. Hi, Collie C. Is that Daughters of Cain, Colin? I hope it is. Mamdir, why so early? I'm just hanging out. I've just got to paint. I got the heat this weekend. I thought I'm painting. Me and John had a chat planned anyway, so I just thought we'd just turn it on live. It might be something I do in the future. I might start doing a lot more afternoon shows in the future, or maybe even just day shows, because a lot of the work I've got to do over the next few months is in the studio based. But we'll see. What I was going to say, John, that's why I'm stuck with playing an army for a year, or why I'm sticking with playing for an army for a year, because I want to learn I want to know what the difference is between learning something well, or just being like, do you know what, that's a good army list, like, currently, I'll play that, you know.
Exactly. And at the moment, so I keep saying that I haven't settled on a list, because I think there are several builds that can work. And it's all about me, like, picking the right one for the right tournament, like sniping the realms if I'm able to. But yeah, I think it's great. And it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more challenging as a player, I think.
Yeah.
It's like if you take a Magic the Gathering reference, it's like when you play those pre-made decks, or if you make your own decks, I think it's more rewarding and like make your own deck work.
Yes. Yeah, I think so as well. I think there's something to be said for knowing your, like, and that, and maybe is the two like, I know there's a lot of things that get said about like army lists and list building and net lists, but I think that the concept of seeing a list online and then someone just going, I'm going to build and paint and play that, it doesn't do justice to the person who's already built that army list and then has played it at tournaments and done well with it. I don't think. I think, like, when you get to the stage of designing your list, you start looking at the functionality of units. You just say to yourself, you start to get pigeonholed a little bit. You know, as soon as you picked unit X, you kind of have to pick unit Y. And then as soon as you have to pick unit Y, you kind of like, well, I've just written the list that a lot of other people have chosen because this seems to make the right decision, right? I don't really think it exists to a degree. I just want to ask a couple of things. Hi, Frederick, 1984. Hi, Mum dear. Thanks for getting me some bits so I can buy myself a cup of tea. I really appreciate that. Also, I just want to point out, because I'm sure Games Workshop listening as always, that Hag Queens are probably too cheap by 25%. I personally would increase their points by possibly 4.
I would do 2 things to Daughters of Cain.
Add 1,000 points to a Hag Queen?
Well, they're a bit cheap, aren't they? But they should maybe take a look at the Witch Brew as a concept.
Yeah.
And they should take a look at, okay, should this be within or should this be wholly within? What it is, I leave up to them to find out.
Yeah.
But those are my clues.
Okay. So, Collie C also is the Colin, Mr. Colin Cochrane, who did so well recently with the Daughters of Cain. So he's coming over to the Heats this weekend, and he's going to be playing with the Daughters of Cain. I think, Colin, I'm going to tweet you later. I think I might start an international shitstorm on Twitter later. I'm going to just offer out and say that no one but an English person is going to win this final. And now I'm not, by the way, nationalistic in any way, shape or form. But it's mainly just to get people riled up so we can have a great event. That's the idea. So, when I do that later, don't think that I'm coming.
I can see your mustache like drawing up and like shortening, and you just have that little bit under your nose left.
Well, it's the way I keep trying to generate like shit between Mark Wildman and all of Australia. Darren Watson earlier messaged me and was like, "Hey Rob, just want to say thanks for the confidence that you've shouted me out, because he's at the Heat this weekend, and he's like, but I'm not bringing the Swift Talk agents this weekend. I'll be bringing Khorne." Yeah, but like, I love your confidence in me, so I really, really appreciate it. And I was like, I'm sorry, man. I'm just setting you up to fail. That's basically the point of it. Like, I want people to really believe in you so that when it goes wrong, then we get to we're like, what happened? It's the kind of... And he just went, you fucking dick. And I was like, yeah, like, that's the point, right? Like, we need to create gossip and drama, because it needs to be, like, not clickbait, like fucking spiky bits, but actual fun, light-hearted, like, rivalry and, like, make there be some, like, fucking excitement. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's the hobby on the downtime, right? The drama part.
Yeah, like, for instance, like, if I was to put up a picture this weekend at the Heat of me playing a certain model flogging TV manager department manager, if I got drawn against that gentleman, that would be a great piece of gossip, you know. That'd be a great game.
Is this what you make it?
For me. Hold on. Hi, Bob Wink Cheese. I'm only able to watch in the daytime at the moment as I'm signed off for a month of Whiplash. Adequate War Game. Games Workshop have done a fantastic job of putting 1 billion unknown variables into Age of Sigmar this time around. And I would agree, it is a very bloated game. I don't have another word instead of bloated, because bloated sounds negative. So if there's a word that we could find that would say, I wouldn't say complex, because the rules aren't overly complex. It's just, there's a lot of them. So it's just, there's a lot of bookkeeping. There's a lot to know, right? Mr. Thomas, I'm enjoying the afternoon chat. Oh, good. I'm glad about that. Coffee with Roblin. Chipper, this is a really cool conversation, Rob. Love designing a list and coming up with something which then you learn to make it work. Yeah, man. Like, it's kind of my rise under Etra at the moment. And I hope when I finally can show you exactly what's been going through my brain over the past few months, in the next few months, you guys should see. That'd be cool. Golly, see, I like cheap girls. Good. Have we talked about how cool Zarbag's gits look? No, not yet. Hellstorm Dan, do you think there isn't a net list for AOS because you have to set hits and wounds rather than strength and toughness? Like, lowly units can make out a big hero. 40k is. I would say that the toughness. Hellstorm Dan, if we want to talk about John, do you mind if I quickly talk about 40k for a sec?
It's fine, man. I'm a pro in 40k.
Well, so like the thing that really interests me about the 40k list designing process versus Age of Sigmar, like, if I have like a giant dragon in Age of Sigmar, he probably has rend of 3, or rend of 2 at least. Sorry, not rend of 3. That's really rare, but that's basically where it stops. But in 40k, all of the strength weapons, let's say a plasma gun or a las cannon, that is designed to take out, let's say, an Imperial Knight, which are a real issue in 40k at the minute, they have the strength and toughness value that you need to wound them, let's say. So, you know, wounding on 3s or 4s, as opposed to 5s and 6s. But they always have the AP as well. They're always synonymous with each other, if that makes sense, John. Whereas in, like, they're like, my Kadai Fireborn, for instance, for Age of Sigmar at the minute, they do D3 damage, they've got 5 attacks each, and they've got unit 12, so that's 60 attacks, but they have no rend, you know, so they're like, they're much worse against armor than not, but they kick out a fair whack of damage. And that is the difference between 40k and Age of Sigmar, is that they just gave multi-wound weapons incredible rend. So they were like, these are the weapons designed to kill vehicles, so have great rend, right? And then also have d6 damage. These are the weapons designed to kill infantry, have 800 million shots with rerolls against infantry that don't have a good save. Does that make sense? Whereas in Age of Sigmar, it's more just like, it's a 3+, 4+, rend 1, 3 damage, or, you know, or something similar. And I think maybe there's just more balance in that because of the stats, but that's just me talking shit, maybe. I don't know. What do you think? Hello?
I think, yeah, hello. I'm thinking. I don't know. It's, I just think it's weird that you can shoot someone with a big battle cannon right into a unit and one guy dies.
Yeah.
That's just weird to me. Hashtag 40k pro. It's like Titan shoots at the Imperial Guard company. One guy dies. Like, okay, is that all you have to conjure, Saruman?
Oh, there's some great people in the chat. Hi, Darren. Hope you're well. We're still painting, I hope. Haywo said we could use the word expansive as opposed to bloated, which is good. Yeah. I feel like there's like loads of circles spinning. There must be some sort of word from Harry Potter. Apparently, also Darren Watson and Colin are coming out dancing on Saturday night. You've got a lot to live up to, gentlemen, because obviously, as I've talked about on the show before, the Warhammer 40,000 players are better dancers than the Sigmar community so far.
What, you take that back?
I'm just saying. Some of the 40k guys are great dancers.
Clothes off. Pose off.
Well, that's what I want to see eventually at the Worlds, right? You know, at the Honest Wargamer Worlds. Obviously, we'll have like the tournament, and then Saturday night will be the 40k versus Age of Sigmar dance off. We'd invite the Heresy players over to do the dance off, but they'd be very, very busy talking about how much they think both other communities are dicks. And you don't want to disturb what they enjoy, so we'll leave them.
It's like an old what do you call it? They are like an old English bed sore. Like, don't touch it, because they will die.
Would you agree that? Oh, Vladim, hi, how you doing? Dancing at November for a gig. 6 weeks by. Yeah, man. Come on. Yeah, Vladim, that sounds sweet. 29th. Let me check what I'm doing. Would you agree that Age of Sigmar power creep is still happening with each new book, or do you think that they learned from Daughters of Cain and started trying to create more balanced books before release? I don't think they ever tried to create a balanced book, Angry Wargamer. My example of that would be the difference between Zangor and Carrick Acolytes. Carrick Acolytes were new models, right?
Yeah, and they have a bit of an internal design issue. I guess.
They have a huge internal design issue. And maybe they plan in like 4 years to make Carrick Acolytes good, but, you know, they don't. I mean, they're super pushing Zangor. Either they're super pushing Zangor or they just don't know how to write Zangor well. It's the same with Eldar, right? Either they're bad at intentionally balancing games. They're either pushing Eldar to be really good for no particular reason that anyone can see, or they're just not great at it, which I feel they're just not great at it. So I don't think that there's a reason for it. I don't think intentional power creep. I think it's that thing where, how can I put this? John.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm very sorry. This is going to get a bit crude, but it's the only real good explanation I can come up with. When you're a young man or a young lady, and then the first time you see like a nudie video or a nudie picture, yeah, and you're like, oh my God, right? And you're like, that gets you excited, yeah? But I'm 34 now, right? So if I don't see like,
get excited.
I still get excited. But in order for me to reach the fulmination of that excitement, you know, I need to see like a dwarf punching a cow while there's like someone swinging in the background on fire and everyone's screaming. You know, I need that to really get me to the next stage. And that's kind of how I think the rules guys are. You know, they release their first book and they're like, cool, that's like vanilla, missionary, you know, and then once they're like 23 books in, they're like, oh, I really need like I need a dog doing me up the ass or something to really like reach the end point. And that's a bit crass, I'm sorry, but it's the best analogy I could go. Does that make sense?
You have a really short end point now. Maybe. I mean, it's a theory, isn't it?
It is a theory. It's a theory. Yeah. Please, right?
I think like they're like trying to make the concepts for the armies. I don't know if the rules writers and the points makers are the same people. But if it is, it should be. I don't know. It's like I feel like they're pushing the concept for every army, right? Like let's say Greyherd. They should ambush. They should have a herdstone, and it should do this and that, which is fine.
Nothing. I was just excited to see what the chat said of that. I was like, I really do wonder how the chat feel. English people, yeah, it's like Positive Victims, like, I love he's like, you're a Slanesh worshipper, a Bomb Cheesy, you're out yourself for scat fetish, and then Provocatory just a scared face. Cully says, wait till you get to 45. I can't even imagine what's in my future. And then Nick Lamborn said, this is the level of analysis that I come for.
All of this power creep being said, though, I still think that the game has probably never been in such a good place as it is now.
I don't think so either. That's why I think
every army can like punch, even if it's someone from down below, they can still punch like in games.
Yeah, and sometimes like they just keep writing rules or whatever. They just do shit, man. They just write some books, yeah. But we all get to play this amazing game because of it. So fucking God knows.
Yeah.
And look at it. Yeah. Sometimes they don't know that they're fucking up. Like, I mean, who the hell? Also, Vladium, thanks for subscribing. Means loads. I also wonder, and this is really key, like, look at the end of the day, I got to ask, like, if you look at the realm of beasts and the goddamn you need a monster and all that jazz, yeah, they're not meaning that. That's not power creep. That's not intentional. You're giving them too much. You're giving them too much credit. You're giving them too much credit.
Listen here. Let's say you and I would play a game in the realm of beasts.
Yeah.
Would we enjoy it? Yes. Because the rules aren't bent for realm of beasts. It's just fun with a monster. Maybe they should have standardized which type of monster it is. Maybe like release an endless spell, but it's the realm of beast monster that you can get.
Yeah.
I mean,
that would be cool.
They should have done that. Yeah. But realm of beasts isn't bad. It's more like, what do you call it? I don't know the English word for it, but omständigt. It's that's the Swedish word for it. I'm gonna go to Google Translate.
Okay. While you do that,
tedious. It's tedious more than it's bad rules writing.
Yeah, this is tedious. Yes.
Yeah, but it's not bad. It's just tedious.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Afternoon, Daisy Duke Dog. Afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is really cool. People just tune in when we're just like chilling. Appreciate it loads. I never enjoyed AOS as much as I do right now, says Positive Victim. And I got to agree with you. I think it's in a solid place. I hated the time when, and Colin's still in the room, isn't he? When you could do Vanguard Wing. Talking about Vanguard Wing. That always sucked, personally. Never was a fan. And I didn't really give a fuck about Change Host, if I'm honest, because you only lost to Change Host.
It was just bullshit. It wasn't that good. It was good, but it wasn't fun. It's just, it's just shit.
Yeah, it didn't bother me.
But regarding Archeon, he's a monster, and he's also a hero, and you can't have a hero. But obviously, you could have a Magor Dragon in Realm of Beast. I'm talking to Sickle 01 here, also known as Shitgut.
See you later, Angry Wargamer. The Angry Wargamer and the Adequate Wargamer have just left, so I just want to say goodbye to you. Thanks for tuning in. And then someone put a chat about, Mr. Tumner says, this is what happened with the latest 3 Chaos Marine Space codexes released at the start of a new edition, balanced and a bit flat. Then a year later, after Codex Creep, they just seem so vanilla and shitty. Chaos Marine Codex is like Channel 5 softcore erotic drama at the moment.
No. It's like my Grey Knights, man. My Grey Knights are proper gold standard of shit. It's
So could I do a user challenge? And if you do, I will review. I promise I will review it if you do it. Zyko, thanks very much for the bits donation. I promise I will review it. Me and Jonathan promise to review it. If someone else there wants to take either the 40k line of codexes or the Age of Sigmar battle tomes as a series of books. And then if you'd like to relate them to pornographic titles through time.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So like, it's like you take Gladiator, but then you do the porno title. It's Gladiator.
Yeah, but like it might be like it's way too like, you know, it might be like the first Stormcast book as an example was actually really quite good. Yeah. Review ever chosen. All right. So that would be that was actually quite good compared to then the book after it, which is a bit flat and dull. So it's like, that first one you saw something quite you know, pornographic. So you kind of pull back a little bit. You're like, no, that's too far for me. But now with like, so, you know, anyway, I just want someone to go through that process because I think that would be just funny, and I'd like to do that review process personally.
So we're comparing them to pornos. Do you know what? Sweden's first porno.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, that's not what I planned, but sure. Please tell me.
Yeah. They actually started on Full Throttle because there's one of the actors who inserts a big fucking like sausage into one of their holes. Like a proper real sausage.
Oh, a real sausage.
Yeah, they start like, so this is porno, and then like,
what the hell?
And I will write the title in the chat.
Okay. Okay. Getting the community through their work days are good. Hookapin, how the heck are you 35? I'm not 35. I'm not 35 till my birthday next week. Yeah, currently I am the grand, gorgeous age of 34.
And they also, the story is that they blow a horn and everybody gets horny.
For sake. What have we started? I'm in, says Mr. Tumner. So if anyone wants to send me the list, tweet it to me. I'd be very excited about that. Me and Jonathan will do the arduous task of reviewing both the battle tome and the porno at the same time. I really should have come up with a better analogy. I mean, you also could compare it to like curries, right? So we have this tradition in the UK, Jonathan, where we unnecessarily, especially as young men, eat the spiciest curry that we can find in some sort of like testament to how ungodly manly we are. This is kind of, you know, so it's like, oh, you eat the hottest curry on the menu, and then everyone goes, oh my god, you're so sexy, it's the most amazing thing.
Like Christian did.
Like Christian did, but then he made some issues. That was he broke. We're not even allowed back in what is that town called? Hordeen. Yeah. But it could be like that, you know, like basically the first Space Marine Codex was obviously a Korma, and we're all the way, and then the Craft World book was a Jalfrezi.
The Grey Knights, just like the shrimp chips.
Grey Knights was the poppadoms of the meal.
But people actually want poppadoms. It's like the day after at the bathroom. That's Grey Knights.
Yeah, the Grey Knights are the poppadoms. They might not even be the poppadoms. I don't know about you guys, but I'm always super into the mango sauce that you get along with it, because we always usually have like a mango sauce, like a creamy one, and then a spicy one, and I always avoid the spicy one. They're like that cream sauce that no one gives a shit about, like of the three, in my opinion. You can't go with Indian with your mates and order a mild curry without a whirlwind of abuse coming your way, says Vladimir. There you go, see? Someone's like, I'll have a vegetable korma, please. It's like, oh, vegetable korma for the gay man here, if you don't mind. Yeah? It's like, I've put up with that a lot in my life, so that's fine. Anyway. It's like being a non-meat eater in the wargaming community. Me and Darren have to deal with that all day long.
You are loads, though. You're so many.
Is there loads of us?
I think so.
Oh, nice.
Like, it's probably more like, if you look at the ratio, there are probably more betas in Warhammer than in, well, not betas, not meat eating guys. I tried it for. I don't understand how you can be like a vegetarian in Britain.
Oh, Jesus, we have just moved away from Warhammer, haven't we? Yeah, this is just the Daily Show now. Welcome to the Daily Show. Later on, we'll be taking your questions about romance. But first, Jonathan and Rob on your dietary requirements. Yeah, Jonathan, eat a lot of cheese recently. By the way, tried to be a vegetarian in France, doesn't work. You can eat cheese or bread. Yeah, those are your options, and that's all that too.
And if you're vegan, you can only eat bread.
If you're vegan, you can eat bread. Yeah, those are the options.
I've been to France once. I didn't enjoy it.
Also, Sigmar is vegan. Did you know that?
It's not.
Phil,
Take that back now.
Phil Kelly told me. Argue with me now.
Who is Phil Kelly?
Who's Phil Kelly?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know it.
It's fucking. Phil Kelly's a babe.
You know what, Rob? It's yeah, he is. But it's all made up. It's not true. But supposedly, if the universe is like never ending, it could be true somewhere. It's more likely that it's true.
I reckon that Nagash is lactose intolerant.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's 100% true. What Archeon? What's he got? He's got Archeon's 100% got irritable bowel syndrome. He's got IBS.
He got teenage. What do you call it? Those sits. Acne. That's why he wears the helmet. Yeah. And speaking of teenage acne, Swedish tournaments are popping up all over the place, man.
All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's get back on subject.
That segued.
Well done. This is why you're a professional host with me on the show. Yeah.
So yeah, the Swedish scene is really kicking off, and it's super cool. Like tournaments everywhere, wherever you want it. Like one a month at least.
Wow, that's really good.
And I'm hosting one now next month, and we sold out. So for Sweden now, this is big, but it's 60 people, and I think we have a lot of people on the wait list as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
If
you get a country with 9 million, we have 60 people in a tournament. It's good, isn't it?
If you get a few more, you may well be able to get one of those little stickers off Games Workshop.
No, not even close.
Not even close to a little sticker?
No, not even close.
Oh, well, if you get a few more, you might be able to set up a crowdfund to send the Honest Wargamer over to live stream it.
Dude, the plane tickets to Sweden is really cheap.
Oh, well, okay. And then the GoFundMe doesn't have to be big. That's the answer.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yeah, exactly. So you could come. And also we have really good internet, just saying.
It's not like Derby. Hello, Rob. Can you live stream this? No, unfortunately, someone in the venue appears to be streaming the F1, so I won't be able to do this for you, you big multinational company. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that'd be really fun as well. But then would that be?
Nice.
You are?
But sorry, go on.
No, you go.
So I obviously wrote a new rules pack.
Oh, okay. You wrote a new rules pack
for me and 3 other guys.
Oh, okay. And
wrote the rules pack.
What are their names?
Magnus Nedfors is one of them. So Magnus Nedfors.
Christ, I don't want to come over. I'll never go. On table 1 is Flurgevergen, and he is battling against.
Also, and we have Oscar Karlefred. Easy peasy.
Fucking easy peasy. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
But it was fairly easy. I think it was fairly easy. We didn't change a lot of the rules. We didn't change any rules, in fact. It's all out of the book. We're going to roll for all the spells, and we're going to roll for all the realms. And also not spells, affixes, and we're going to roll for all the realms. Yeah. Wink, wink.
All right. So you're going to pick the realms?
We'll see. But we haven't excluded any realm from the pack. Let's say, for an example, if we're going to play in Realm of Shadow,
yeah,
we won't allow that you can move after you teleported the unit.
Okay.
So, and Realm of Fire, that spell that everybody loves, that gives 1+ damage on units, you just make it so you can put it on heroes, not units. Fine.
Okay. Yep.
No biggie. So we haven't excluded any realms. We haven't excluded Realm of Beasts either. And if we roll Realm of Beasts, we will make sure that there are monsters to play with. So that part was fairly easy. What we have tried to dive into a bit is actually slow play, sportsman, rules like cheating and stuff like that. Like how do we how do we act if that happens?
Hit with a
Let's
hammer.
say a person. Well, yeah, that would be the easy way, wouldn't it? But then again, we have a small scene and we don't want to reduce the player base, so...
You can cheat, but on the bottom table, you fucker. Yeah, with all the others.
Yeah.
Send them. Do you have that thing where sometimes at dinner in Sweden, I always like to ask questions from people from another country that's basically the same as my country, as if they're from like another planet in Star Trek. But do you have that thing in your country where if you have like the adults eating at a table, you put the children on like a smaller table at the side?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, like parties and stuff, yeah.
You should
But
just...
not at home.
You should just have like a 6'4" table, but it's only 2 feet off the ground. Yeah, it's like, you're playing on that now, you fucker. Yeah.
That would be great.
That would be great.
That would be really good. And you have to wear this outfit. Yeah. That would be good, man.
There you go. What about that?
But we have actually come to a conclusion.
Yeah.
I mean, my resolvement for slow play will always be chess clock. That will be that's the best solution for slow play. But then again, we know we have people that are sensitive against chess clocks, and they might not turn up because of chess clocks.
I was once touched by a chess clock.
Yeah, you should not be afraid of chess clocks because it only affects the people who play slow.
I am actually scared. I just think both players should lose. It's just easier. Just like, you can't, like, I can't be arsed with it. I'm just like, just both players lose, end of. Like, if I was running a tournament, I'd be like, both players lose.
Dude. So let's say you're playing a 40k heat.
Yeah.
And you get slow played.
By like that Italian guy.
Yeah. Should you lose then?
Huh?
Is that fair?
No, it's not fair, but everyone goes to that tournament knowing that's the situation. Like, I talked about that guy a lot. So if you guys aren't aware, I went to a 40k tournament, and the gentleman spent 40 minutes deploying. I think game time I had about 20 minutes, and it wasn't slow play for victory because, and I mean this with all sincerity, I don't think he was physically capable of completing a game. So I don't think he was slow playing to win. Yeah, I think he was physically incapable of playing the game to its he wasn't motivated. Like the speed with which he would move, like mechanically as a person, was just so slow. Like Nikos filmed it at one point. It was just hilarious. There was one point where he filmed it and I was just laughing. I was like, this is just comical. But the guy also was like a little bit morally bankrupt because he turned up at a tournament and he intentionally fucked me and four other players that weekend from having an engaging game, whether or not I won or lost. Yeah, it was really offensive, and I don't think that guy should be allowed to go to tournaments until he can prove that he can play. Yeah, that's that guy. Now that's not me saying if you're out there and you're like, I want to go to a tournament, but I don't want to play that guy. It's so fucking rare. It doesn't happen all the time. I promise. When we have these conversations, it's because it happens like once out of 700 games that may happen that weekend or something. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but then there are loads of other ways to do something about it, and I think the TOs just need to be more involved and more aggressive.
That's what we're trying to do, man.
Yeah, TOs just need to come over to the table and be like, "Oh, it's an hour in. What turn you on? We're on turn 1. Why? Hurry up! I'm coming back in 15 minutes."
The Templar has the best solution. Air horn are the best slow play. If your opponent starts playing slow, start firing it off.
Fire off the air horn. Yeah, just fire off the air.
Slow playing. Disagrees. Solid point, man.
Yeah, or just that's what the TO can do. You know, TO can just walk around and be like, okay, just air horn. The whole room quickly turns around and goes, what the fuck happened? And it's like, this guy is currently in last place. He's the slowest player in the room, and then everyone stares at them. Yeah, and I'm not into public humiliation, I promise. I
am.
Unless I'm watching, unless I'm watching at least the Drukari Codex. I just think it's the quickest and easiest way to just deal with it. But anyway, please tell me what you're doing about it.
So we have soft scores that you can get to add up to your total score. Mm-hmm. So we have paint your shit. Should be painted. You get points for that. You get points for sending your army list in. You get points for being a decent opponent. And by being a decent opponent means that you don't get any disporting votes or unsporting votes. So if you get more than one of those, you'll get deducted up to 40 points.
Yeah.
And remember, 20 points is a major victory in our system. So let's say 2 guys are playing and they haven't finished. Most of the time, and this happens all of the time as well. Like, let's say you and I are playing a game and we don't finish. That wouldn't happen, but if it happened, we would come to a gentleman's agreement saying, yeah, you would win, this would do that, and that would do that. And that's it, right?
Yeah.
Then there isn't really an issue. The issue becomes when the players can't have that gentleman agreement. When they can't decide.
Yeah.
Let's say you get to play 2 hours and I only get to play 1 hour, and if I got to play another 30 minutes, I would have my army over there, and that would be a different story. So when the players don't agree, they call all the TOs over, and we will get to decide what the outcome of the game would be.
Yep.
And the more, like, let's say you're in turn 1 or turn 2, it's harder for us TOs to decide whether or not how the game should end. So that it's more likely to be a draw rather than a major loss, a major or a minor loss. But then we also hand out the disporting votes. Each player gets 1. And if that happens again, then that player actually starts to suffer points from the tournament. And if you suffer points like that again, you won't be able to win the tournament. And let's say you have played a tournament and you have played one of your rules wrong to your beneficial effect for 3 games. And then in game 4, somebody points out that, yeah, that's not how it works. Then, unfortunately, you will get 3 of those votes, which will duck your sportsmanship vote.
Okay.
So for 1 for every game. So if you get those votes, sorry, you won't be able to win the tournament. And this also includes bad behavior. That is very rare, and it shouldn't happen.
And
also, I think
again, almost never happens.
Exactly. And all of these things, I mean, it might happen, but more than often, it's the gentleman's agreement, but the player can agree, like, to sort it all out. It's just where they can't agree.
Nah, listen, I want to go into this in detail another day, yeah, and I don't want this to be a Games Workshop bash thing, right? But it's key. It's a key element, right? Hi, Canhammer. I'm glad you're back. Also, the guys in the chat are having a really good chat about it as well. I got to say that the only people that benefit from people being able to play their rules loosely, yeah, people not having to learn things well, or people being able to play slowly, yeah, is TOs who want to sell tickets, yeah, but I don't think most TOs are in it just to financially benefit, yeah, because they want as many people there as possible, even if they're not competent to be so. Or Games Workshop, because again, they want as many people to buy armies to go to tournaments, yeah. Like, we've allowed, like, a really soft and friendly environment in which to play Warhammer in, which I'm super for, yeah, but it's not like people playing, like, other professional sports, I'm not saying it's a professional sport, aren't playing hard but also having a great time. Like, rugby players respect the fuck out of each other when they play rugby. They play really hard and they play really well. Yeah, like chess players, they respect each other loads. League of Legends players respect each other loads. Yeah, but they play hard and they play to win. Yeah, but they wouldn't allow each other to just, oh, I accidentally was using a cheat on this game, I'm so sorry. Or actually, I'm running this ball through. Like, there's a ref, there's a guy that goes, you're doing this wrong, I'm calling a foul. And I just think there should be more judges and more TOs who are just like, here's a foul, that's it. Yeah, and it will stop. It stops backbiting. It stops people. It takes the pressure off. It stops other people being involved in the conversation. It's like, was that fair? Was that not fair? Was that kind of cheating or not cheating? It's just like, someone's made a decision and it's done. We're already okay with people making loads of decisions for us. Like, you know, there could be no realms. Like, we're playing in the realms or we're not. Yeah, like, actually, your army's now basically not anywhere near as good because the points have gone up 100 points per unit or 20 points per unit or something. We're okay with it already. Yeah, it's just in one particular place we're not okay with it, and it really confuses me. But that's my feelings anyway at the minute, and I think it's part of a larger conversation we're all having as a group. If that makes sense?
Yeah. And I think 99% of the errors that people make are not meant to be like cheating. It's actual mistakes.
Yeah, but then actual mistakes versus cheating. Like when people aren't punished for only making an actual genuine mistake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the outcome is the same, right?
No, the outcome isn't the same because some people won't challenge some people who are genuinely cheating versus making actual mistakes. And if we look at it, there are people allowed to propagate and dominate the hobby, even being people who run tournaments and have podcasts, who I've seen cheat in real life at Warhammer games, and people are okay with it. People are like, this is fine.
I don't think people are okay with that.
Then,
you obviously isn't, and I obviously aren't. So, I mean, I don't think people are okay with that. It's just, it needs to be dealt with, like, at tournaments, at the place. And I mean, obviously, you can't give the players who just lost to that opponent, like, give them 20-0. You can't do that game 3 if it happened, game 1 and 2. Yeah. The damage is inflicted, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
But we need to make sure that the player who did this error don't get rewarded and like go home with trophies and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that unless you have a judge at every table, I think that is probably the only way you could go about it now.
Maybe, but then and I'm going to do an experiment next year to work it out, John. How's that sound?
Yeah, it could be cool. And again, I mean, these are rarities. Far from every game where people shoot. Well, yes and no. I think
honest mistakes are not rarities.
No, they're not rarities. They're not rarities.
I'll give you. Can I give you an example?
Yeah, man.
Like, so again, and I don't want to keep banging on about it, but I do all the time. Yeah. So I'm playing this weekend at the Heat, right, with my Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm pretty certain off the top of my head right now I could recite to you the stats from my whole army. Pretty certain. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty key. However, that isn't good enough for me. Yeah, like as a drive to professionalize my gaming. So what I'll be doing tonight after I do the 40k show is I'll be writing myself a cheat sheet. Now, unfortunately, I'm a day behind on my schedule, so what I haven't been able to do is print out, because that was my plan, a little version of all of those cheat sheets for my opponent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I eventually would like to do is probably have all the realm spells as little cards as well. And I'd like to have multiples of them. And like, none of us have a problem spending 35 quid on a box of models, but all of us would have a problem spending 15 quid on a bit of printing to get this done. But I'm super up for this. So I'm going to print it all out tomorrow, and I'm going to have it all available to myself. I'm going to have it available to my opponent, and I'm just going to like double check all the time and make sure I play. And I'm pretty certain I can always play 100% fair. Yeah, and I always try to. But I'm gonna my aim this weekend for me personally is to make no mistakes. Like game wise, like, oh, that's a terrible decision. I shouldn't have taken that. That's fine. You know, I can't mitigate that with a piece of paper. But what I can mitigate is that I roll everything the right way it's meant to be rolled, and I don't forget any rules. So I'm making myself a cheat sheet, and I'm going to be able to give it to my opponent. Yeah, and absolutely. I want to see how much extra work it takes to be dead certain about my rules. Like,
I don't know if you listened to AD Mac when he went on the last Facehammer podcast, but
no, I don't listen to that. No.
Okay, but AD Mac, the way he looks about it, the way he looks at the game, and the way he looks at games being played, and how you like address yourself at the board, I think was a really good like example for how you should behave and how you should act. Like at tournaments, I mean, you shouldn't have like gotcha tricks in your list that you don't explain to your opponent and then they just happen out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
You should call out when your opponent making an error. You should call out when they make a 4-inch pile move or stuff like that. You should do that.
Yeah,
and that's just because the experience will become better for both you and your opponent if you both play in the right way.
Yeah, you'll know what your units do better. You'll be like, oh, okay, actually these aren't as good as I thought they were when they don't re-roll all to hits. They only re-roll once. But anyway, that was just me giving. That was just giving. Sorry, that was just me. Oh, you go.
Okay. I can't really tell it as good as it was, but I'm gonna go do a shameless plug for Facehammer actually, and listen to that latest podcast with AD.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, AD's amazing. That would be the thing that would make me want to listen to it. Realistically, I would say that for me, and I hope this maybe I want everyone to know that is how serious I'm going to take. I'm going to have a great weekend. I'm just going to roll some dice and have some fun. And I'm taking goddamn Chaos Dwarves, so I'm not expecting to win the tournament by any stretch of the imagination. That just isn't possible. But I've put a list that's together to be as good as I think it can be. But then maybe comes around to Monday and I've changed that opinion. That's the really cool thing about the journey I'm on with this army. And I'm comfortable with it. But I know for a fact the one thing I want to do is play really well, but also really fairly. Yeah, and just 100%. And take it more seriously than I ever have. Yeah?
Okay, my tip to you, man. Read up on all the realms. Read up on all the realm spells.
Well, I'm actually going to write cheat sheets out for all of those as well.
Yeah, and take them in consideration.
I know. What I'm gonna do also is write a cheat sheet, and if I get time, is I'm gonna print that cheat sheet out for my opponent as well. That's my plan. But what I might do, just because it might be even easier to just achieve, is if I get time and write the cheat sheet out tonight, I might just put it out on as like a Google Drive thing, and just put it out on Twitter, so anyone who's attending the event has got like a little bit of a cheat sheet for the realms. Yeah. Because there's a difference between owning the book, which I support, owning the book, buy Games Workshop, get the book if you're going to be using the rules. Yeah, I completely support that. I just think that having it written down instead of having to read in all the gumph,
it's in 3 books as well, so the logistics of that.
Yeah, 6 to cast plus 1 to hit. I don't need to read everything else. That's easy. Yeah. And I do it when I write.
One more thing that you might want to take in consideration. This might trigger you a little bit, but you're playing at Warhammer World. So make sure that you know what the scenery scrolls do, because they will probably be in use, I guess.
They're not in use. They're
not in use?
No, not scenery war scrolls.
Okay.
So it's going to be fine. I won't have an issue.
Would you have an issue if they were in use?
Yeah, I think what did we talk about earlier? Expansive. When we talk about the rules being expansive, I think that would be a little bit too much. Because you're making you're stacking a good rule that's been pointed. Because the realm spells aren't pointed, right? But wizards are.
Yes.
So to give you an example, plague monks are pointed for being plague monks, and really good, by the way. I think plague monks still great, but add +1 damage on all their attacks. Yeah? Are they pointed to do 2 damage each? They're not.
Yes. Obviously. Otherwise they wouldn't have the point that they have.
No, they don't. They only have 1 damage each currently.
I kid.
Yeah. Right? So, yeah. So they're not pointed that way. So, and while that buff is freely available to everyone, the buff is going to work better on some units than it is on others.
Yeah.
So,
tell you what though.
Mm-hmm.
If a Plague Monk army wins the heat, I'm going to be very surprised.
Who?
If a Plague Monk army, or an army with Plague Monks win the heat, I'm going to be very surprised.
What about a Maggotkin army?
That's an interesting one. That's a very interesting one. Because people have just stopped playing Nurgle, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I was talking about my Swedish co-host, Oscar. We were talking about it the other day, why have people stopped playing Nurgle? I think the consensus that we came to was okay, all of the spells are 7 to cast, all of the good spells. So all of the players currently playing Nurgle are using those spells to win the game.
Well, I'd say
half of the time it don't go off, but people don't adjust and try other builds like the Menagerie, like other stuff that don't hugely depend on those spells. They're just a bonus. Like the Nighthound Charge or whatever. Surely
the Nurgle thing is to do with the fact that you can make an offensive Nurgle army, as in damage-wise, definitely. But one of the stronger ways to build our Nurgle, in my opinion, is as a defensive army. But because of secondaries, which now obviously Games Workshop have changed to a degree, but because of secondaries normally being kill points at tournaments, it's harder for Nurgle to place well because, they might win 5 games or they might win 4 games, but they don't kill anything.
I think that those secondaries are really good for the game. I myself see Age of Sigmar as purely an objective game.
Yep.
Kill points are already in the missions, so I don't see the necessity to have them as a tiebreaker, because they already push you toward a minor victory or a minor loss. But those missions, I mean, side missions isn't new. It's not a new concept. I've been running side missions at my local tournaments. But I think it's a really good solution. So now we have secondary objectives. I'm doing it like this in the Swedish tournament that I'm hosting. Is we have the major victories.
Yeah,
that's the first thing. Then we have the cards. So for each game, you get to pick 2 cards. And for every card that you get done, you get 1 point. And then you cross it off your list that you have used it. I was considering to have, okay, if you cancel your opponent from getting that card, you get an additional point. But then again, we came to the bookkeeping and.
Personally, I'm super up for secondaries. Massively up for secondaries. That's the level of over realm spells, in my opinion. Yeah, having a very intense set of secondaries, like 4 or 5 secondaries in a single game, like we used to do under MoComp. Yeah. Is a more intense tactical game rather than this unit now has +1 damage. Yeah, or this unit now teleports and then moves. Like the complexity of secondaries to win the game, so as in the generalmanship to win the game, over have you chosen a spell, like, is to me a better impact on the game for me personally. But then that's because I like the interactivity of making decisions to win. Some people don't like that. Some people prefer the other way, where they just like, I bought the bigger gun, I've won the game. Yeah, which is absolutely fine, right? You know, like old school like warfare. You know, some people are on. You know, I wouldn't be a naval commander because I wouldn't have brought a big battleship and be like, 30 years ago we planned to build a better battleship than you, and now we've won this engagement. And like, whereas I prefer the kind of the give and thrust of battle, but that doesn't mean that the people that think that are invalid. It's just different to how I feel about it. So, because there is never a right answer.
I mean, we even put kill points as a third tiebreaker. On the second tiebreaker, we have strength of schedule.
Oh, cool.
Which me personally like. So that means like armies like, let's say Sylvanas, normally doesn't kill that much in like normally, but are really good at playing at objectives, become a little bit stronger. But that wasn't the intention from our side. It's just a byproduct. From our perspective, it's just objectives should be the king.
I agree.
And secondaries is perfect as another tiebreaker. Then how you like decide on whatever you do. You do the 2 points or you do the 4 points, depending how many you cancel from your opponent. It's just a matter of taste. We went with the 2 points, as I said, just because there's too much to keep track of already. To keep track of your opponents as well will be a bit much, I guess.
Yeah, I'm very excited to find out. So talking about in the chat, Nurgle, Ricerella says that Nurgle are very strong. Positive Victim saying that he only lost with his Nurgle army against Jack Armstrong at Bobo because he didn't get to go first and get his buffs up, which I think is a point. Colin is saying that we're talking about his Daughters of Cain army. -1 to hit isn't bad when you hit on 3s re-rolling, but -2 on the witches is the killer, so -2 to hit. Colin, I can get -3 to hit this weekend. Let's play some Warhammer, motherfucker. And again, this goes into that conversation that me and Nathan had a little bit actually on Monday, where actually I think that there's a flavour of the month for playing Warhammer. That people just don't necessarily jump to the new book. I'll give you an example. I don't think a new book comes out and everyone rushes to play it because it's the best, it's the most powerful new book in the game. Everyone rushes to it because they can do some cool new things with it. Yeah? They're like, I can do this cool new thing. It's like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah? And no one else has done it. And people like to be a little bit different. People like to do something no one else has done as well. Yeah? That's really fun. People want to be the cool, the good guy with a new army or with a new thing. There's no problem.
That's basically me, but I've chosen Kharadron.
There you go. Yeah, you've gone backwards, right? Same with me. Like, I like that I haven't picked Chaos Dwarves out of fluke. Yeah, there's some ego involved. I like the fact that very few people play it. Yeah, I like the fact that I'm going to be playing it and it's going to be my army. I feel like I can put a real stamp and a mark on it myself. Yeah?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I'm happy to admit that and talk that through. So that's a little bit of why people play those armies as well. And why some armies fall off the map. And also maybe people just don't enjoy playing them. There are still Nurgle players out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just not there's not as many, you know, and maybe there's just a population of people like you were talking about earlier who jump between armies because they just like jumping between armies.
And to be fair, Nurgle was a really quick paint as well.
Yes.
It painted up really fast and really well.
Yeah.
But I think like a good example of like not enjoying, I think Fire Slayer is probably one of them. That is just like not very enjoyable to play, not very enjoyable to play against. I mean, they used to be a really good army. I think you could argue for that they still kind of work, but obviously not as effective. But they're not that enjoyable to play, so people just moved away from them.
What, Kharadron Overlords?
No, Fire Slayers.
Oh, Fire Slayers. Yeah, same thing, right? I mean, you won tournaments, so you saw them round more. You know, people were like, "Oh, I've got to build. I want to win that tournament. I'm going to build a Fire Slayer army." It's like, okay, that's cool, but then, you know, as soon as they weren't as viable, people are like, "Oh, I don't want to play this now. I only played it because it was competitive," right?
Yeah, you can respect that, absolutely. But
yeah, Rice is saying, and I think that's a really good point. 3 great and clean ones in the thrice-fold battalion, in which my buddy plays as a massive potential in realms. That's a good shout, man. It's a good shout. I played against that before, but the guy I played wasn't really good playing with him at Sheffield Slaughter. But that was really fun. But he just sucked at playing.
Dude, Corn, the great deals of Corn, man. When you put all items on them, they're fucking hilarious, and they smash face.
I think Chaos are in a really strong place at the minute. I think there's loads of Chaos.
I think everybody's in a good place.
Yeah, but Chaos aren't really being very represented at tournaments.
No, true.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
80.
Yeah. Well, and me this weekend, baby.
Sure.
What the hell, man? What the hell? Chippy Rick says, this is the one for me. Love my Fire Slayers, but they weren't always the most fun. Worst with points increases, it's tough to fit stuff in without being shy. Yeah, that's so hard. Yeah. That's the other bit. That Fire Slayers are also expensive, says Herilicious. That's a really good point. Yeah, you really have got to like work it through. Also, there's like the mechanics of it, right? You know, like for an example, Rice Arilla's talking about the Thricefold Battalion, which is a Nurgle battalion which allows you to take 3 great and clean ones. And you're always going to take Rotigus, I imagine, as well, as one of those 3. But you're talking about 3 big models that you get to paint. That looks cool. You've only got to moving those 3 big models around is not a particularly tough mechanical challenge on the tabletop. Playing big art. That's why you see Imperial Knights being played so much in 40k, because it's just easy and fun. Like, they're good, they're strong, and I'm just having a great time. Like
Beastclaw is always doing good in the sportsmanship department as well. It's just big monsters charging and shit.
Do you know what I mean?
Goes
like,
fast and it's fun.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, there's a degree to that, like, you know, and there's also that argument, like, how long do I spend thinking about each turn and each go that I'm going to... Man, it's just exciting. It's well exciting. Yeah. Fucking hell, it's 4 o'clock. I have to get on with that secret project, John. I have to talk to the man about this thing that we're announcing.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, and to everyone else who's watching and listening, I can't tell you what that means. So I'm just telling John we can go. But any final questions? This is just an impromptu thing. But John, thanks for joining us.
It's fun, man.
Missed your Monday.
I
hope you're excited to hear my stories from the weekend coming up. So that'll be Monday's show for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
I just want some good tales. I want the War Mammoth to just kick face. Also, the Sneaky Bull Centaur.
One game, right?
Yeah, one game. One game of 6. He's just going to go one pin. Yeah, like the one pin Willow. Yeah.
I'm going to do another shameless plug. I mean, Oscar Larsson is at the finals. And if he doesn't win Best Painted, I am very surprised.
Yeah, I'm playing Oscar tomorrow. So actually, I'm intending to just drop his models all over the floor so he can't win it. because
it's basically when you pick one of his models up, it's basically a hostage situation.
Hashtag the UK versus Sweden, because the UK will win the tournament this weekend. Sinise, no problem. If you got big question to everyone, because I know loads of you guys work and stuff. Do you guys enjoy afternoon shows? I'd be really interested to know how you feel about them. There's loads of you here, which is cool. I would imagine more of you are free in the evening, but do you listen at work? Like, I'll stay on the line for 5 minutes while I listen. And if you listen to the podcast, I know that doesn't make much difference to you, but feel free to tweet us or Facebook us or something and say, oh, actually, listening to you in the daytime would be really cool, and there's something I could do more of. Because I'd like to know. Colin, I'll see you tomorrow, brother. You guys are going to get a cuddle and a handshake. You're going to get a cuddle and a dance move. I love the afternoon shows while I work. Yes, it's cool, says Chippy Rick. I'll maybe get 20 minutes of the 40k show. That's on later at 7 p.m, don't forget. Zyko, I love them, that's good. I may have ended this class I was teaching early for a bit of listening time. All right, give me something to listen to at work. Morning show for me, says LV. It's perfect for the easy East Coast USA. I'm off work this weekend, but I can listen during work. Okay, so people seem to enjoy it. All right, maybe in the Honest Wargamer V2, that might be the thing that's coming. That might be, because I want to increase how many times we do a live show, if I'm honest. But I do so much work on like research and other stuff in the day. I don't think you guys watching me reading battle tomes or codexes would be an exciting and buzzing show. So that'd be fun. All right, nice. Listening at work is a nice treat. I work at home, so no one is the boss of me. Mr. Kapowski, I listen to the podcast on my way to work, as I normally can't catch the streams, but a show like this could work to have on the background my last day in the office. All right, man, that's cool. I'm always off on a Wednesday now. So, John, give me more notice. All right, yeah, it was impromptu, but maybe in the future it won't be. Maybe we'll plan a date. That'll be fun. You guys are brilliant. Thanks for joining us. Obviously, everyone on Patreon. Again, I keep talking to Patreon. The Patreon guys don't necessarily know just yet, but they're paying for this amazing thing that's going to happen in a few months. So that's awesome. And obviously, everyone on Twitch who subscribes to that. Mr. Kapowski has just done. Thank you very much. Help us run the show. So we massively appreciate that. So you guys, it's hugely beneficial. So thank you loads. John, thank you. I hope Sweden goes well.
It always goes well in Sweden. You should try it out, man.
I want to come over. That's my plan.
My mom had 5 centimeters of snow.
My God.
My God, it's fucking
that would bring the UK to a standstill.
I know. Don't tell the Germans or the Russians.
Anyway,
if you have one more winter like the last one, that being like 5 centimeters of snow, you will be speaking German in 5 years. We're going. And on that bombshell, I hope you guys have a great day. And we'll see you guys soon.